Wild Yinzers kicking through the door, loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two Dum Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two Dum Yinzers, loud and proud, heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. This is episode 954 of the Two Dum Yinzers. I want to say to everybody today, welcome back, and welcome back. We wrapped up the draft, guys, here in Pittsburgh. A lot of cool things to mention that we'll get into as the show goes on from the draft of the weekend, on top of getting all of our new pieces, our Christmas toys, if you will. It's what we've been waiting for all off season to get to this point, but it went down. We got all kind of things to get into today. Also near the end of the show, do keep tuned in, because we will talk briefly about the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are fighting for their playoff lives tonight. They are battling the Philadelphia Phillies back at home to try to stay in this series. They are down 3-1 in the series, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are right across town. They're also playing in town this weekend, starting a series against the St. Louis Cardinals. So Pucks and Bucks tonight in town. Pittsburgh just has not had a chance to rest yet, guys, but you know what? It's all good, because it held up like a champ. We're proud of the town, and again, very excited about everything that went down over this past weekend here in Pittsburgh, here in the Yinzerverse, if you will. Great to see everybody back today. Michael, how are you?
I am awesome. I'm fired up. Man, we made it, dude. We made it through draft season. God, we finally have a look at the roster and how things are going to shake out. I think this team is going to be a very fun team to watch this year, man. It's going to be some good football from your Pittsburgh Steelers this year.
I think so, too. It's hard to believe that this team ain't going to do well. They've certainly improved, in my opinion, in some areas. The draft certainly helped them improve in some areas, and also with the new coaching staff. So it's going to be interesting to see, Mike. As you said, they'll certainly be interesting to watch as this year goes on. Again, adding all the new pieces that we got. We'll get into what's coming up as far as dates, everything here today when the NFL schedule is supposedly going to drop. Everything that you want to know on the Monday after the draft, we are going to do today. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Again, this is episode 954. Just 46 episodes away from the big 1,000 coming up right around the beginning of July, and that's going to hit the 5-year mark, Mike, almost down to the day. So super excited. We got a lot of things coming up, and if you guys are good, we may have something for you a little exciting this week as well. So do stick around. We have a lot to get into, guys. I do want to say this, Mike. We used our first round draft pick as a lot of people thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
We went out and got a guy to block for our quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a pitcher, and I'm just going to put this up here, guys. This is our top offensive lineman. You guys remember Nasty Nate Herbig? This guy right here is Nasty Knockers Derpy. There he is, guys. Nasty Knockers Derpy with a pitcher with James Harrison at the draft when he went down on Friday. There he is. Look, I can see him trying to block some. I really stress the word trying to block somebody. He looks like Nasty Knockers Herbig, but
he does. He does. He has the build of a guard. He did play tackle down at at the local special needs school. He played offensive tackle, but I think we move him inside. Look at that build. That build screams guard. He's going to be a mauler.
But there you go, guys. There's our number 1 overall pick, in case you was wondering. Number 1 overall, Derpy. Didn't get picked in the draft, but number 1 in Mike's heart. There he was, everybody. Derpy. Got a lot to get into. I want to say welcome to everybody on the Terrible Board. We'll be jumping on in just a moment. Again, big day, guys. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss anybody. We're going to get through every message today. I swear to you. Just a few things before we do get rolling here, Mike. We used 10. We used 10 of our 12 picks, of course. We was a lot of speculation. We wouldn't use all 12. Yeah. And I got to be honest with you, where we did use a trade, Mike, we were able to pick. This was a trade with the Indianapolis Colts that allowed us to get a receiver, Mike. So Indianapolis really helped us out in more ways than one this offseason in spicing up our passing game, if you will, of course, with the Michael Pittman trade. And now this, Mike, Indianapolis Colts. I got to say, hey, what can you say about the Colts, huh?
Yeah, a great organization, a team we have loved here for all times here at the Dum Yinzers. They've been nothing but great for us. Their kicker can't kick. Their GM can't GM. I'm sure we'll get into that pick here in a little bit, but that nice trade right there. So we traded a couple low round picks to get Michael Pittman and get a wide receiver who had first round potential. In the second round, we get a 1A receiver from Michael Pittman from the Colts. So they've helped us out this year. I appreciate it, and my God, we've. Like the thumbnail says, man, we have addressed the offense this offseason. So no excuses now, man. No excuses.
Well, usually it's the Colts hurting us instead of helping us.
I know, right? For the past couple of years, it's
Mike, we've been within the last month of the season. You need the Colts to lose for us to get in or something, and they win, or vice versa. So you know what? We'll take it when we can get it with them Colts guys. So again, that played out. Let's get into a few interesting things about the draft, and we got all draft talk today. Glad to see everybody. A lot to get into. We have a new team. This is a totally different team than it was in mid-January when we faced off against the Ravens. Very exciting, guys. And also, you know what? I'm going to keep this to myself, but we'll get to it in just a moment. Let's get to some of these interesting numbers, if you will, Mike. The draft in Pittsburgh, it broke the all-time record. There's never been a draft bigger than the one in Pittsburgh, guys. An admission of a total of 805,000 in 3 days, Mike. That is the record. A one-day record also with the 320,000. That was on the first day. The previous leader in this area, in this category, Mike, was Detroit, who had 775,000 going into this year. And again, Pittsburgh passes that with ease. Again, 805,000. The big draft coming in next year is going to be in Washington, D.C. I know this is not only big because it's the draft, but it's also big because of the plethora of quarterbacks that we believe is going to be coming out of this draft, Mike. So do get it's not a far trip, Pittsburgh. You really made it happen here. It was a wonderful thing, wonderful time. And again, it's only down in D.C. It's not a far drive. Let's get down there next year and get this quarterback that we need for our team. But in the meantime, we have more quarterback talk. So just hang loose, guys. A lot to get into today. So much to get into today. A few other things, Mike. Only there was 45. Okay, so now this is out of 805,000 people. This is almost 1 million people. 45 people got taken to the hospital. It was warm. Water was expensive. Whatever the reason was, 45 people ended up being taken to the hospital over the 3 days of the draft, and 20 arrests overall, which in all the big picture, 20 out of 805,000 is pretty good in a big city
Right?
event. So you know what, that was a success, along with a lot of other things. Michael Keaton calling draft picks, Wiz Khalifa, the big tour, Brett Michaels, the whole thing was fantastic. If you're from Pittsburgh, and even if you were from beyond Pittsburgh, I think a lot of people really enjoyed this draft, Mike. Of course, getting the attention on TV and everything else, a complete success for the 2026 draft in Pittsburgh. And Mike, they said this, they said, if it ends up going good in Pittsburgh, look for about 6 to 8 years and we might be coming back. So great job, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, a great job, Pittsburgh. My God, like it was just awesome to see on TV, awesome to see live too down there as well, of how well everything ran. It was awesome. Everyone had a really good time. You knew there would be some arrests coming on, 3 days of drunken and debauchery down there at that thing. Something was bound to happen. But they did all right. There's nothing major that bad happened down there. This typical stuff you would see at big events. Pittsburgh pulled it off, man. And Yinzers, man, you can tell, like, even the people who hated that the draft was there loved that it was there because they were able to show off Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, we're a proud bunch. We hate when people come over, but when you're here, we'll show you a damn good time, but we won't. But we are counting down the time until you leave. So, but it was a typical Yinzer event, man. It was great. Everyone had a good time, and the city came out looking like aces.
And that's the truth, Mike. And you and I were talking off the air. Pittsburgh is that kind of a city. It's I always mention that it's a smaller, big city. And when I say this, is what I mean is there's a tight knit feel. And it was time, like people don't agree with each other no matter where you go.
Yeah.
But in Pittsburgh, you know what? It's still not radical. It's still not extreme like it is a lot of other places. You know what? People still do respect each other's space, their opinions, and things like this. And I think Pittsburgh is a perfect place to get everybody together for something like this, Mike. Again, just a great weekend. I've heard nothing negative about the weekend. Everything that I've heard was absolutely positive. And Mike and I, we snuck down. We did sneak down on day 3. That was the only day that we were available to get down there. But we did get down there. We dealt with I figured it was going to be a lot slower. That wasn't the case. Mike, jam-packed as the whole weekend. Again, any draft that I turned into, it always seems to be fading away by day 3. But you know what? Pittsburgh's draft really, really blew me away this year, Mike. Just carrying the torch and taking over all the big numbers. Again, I'm sure as the draft continues to grow, it was in New York at Radio City Hall for millions of years.
Yeah.
And then it's been for about 10 years in the going from city to city. I'm sure it's going to continue to get bigger. I'm sure somebody's going to take the record from us. But right now, Steeler fans, right now, Yinzer Nation, right now, Yinzerverse, right now, guys, we are the leaders. Enjoy it. Talk to shit, because right now Pittsburgh has had the best draft in the history of drafts. Surprise, surprise. Football town, everybody. There's no surprises here. We're back. The Steelers are back. We got our draft picks. We got our players. We have our free agents. We have some signings already from the undrafted free agent list. So many different things going on, Mike. And even we're bringing back a veteran wide receiver. We'll get to all this stuff and so much today, but I don't want to miss out. You know what? A couple more things before we do jump on. Pittsburgh is also do have the longest running streak right now without drafting a wide receiver in the first round. Nobody has went longer period of time without taking a wide receiver in the first round. And that, Mike, I know that Derpy would be all over us about, because he's always like, come on, you got to get these pretty players early while they're there. Mike, that's his big argument. But Steelers continuing that streak, the longest team that hasn't taken a wide receiver in the first round.
This franchise is lost, and they have no idea what they're doing. Apparently, that is the narrative, because we didn't take a wide receiver in the first round. Never mind the fact that we got one in round 2 that was a borderline first rounder. But apparently, that is not good enough, because it does not say RD1 next to his draft position. I don't care when you get a guy in the draft, as long as they can fucking play, and that's all that matters to me. And we traded for one. The last 2 off seasons, we traded for two number one receivers in the last off season. We have 2 number ones, and we got a borderline first round pick in the second round. I think that's enough to address the wide receiver position.
I think you're right, Mike. So much, and I was kind of curious, because I was going to say, we've been so used to a defensive mind of this team all the way from the early 70s to present. So I really wasn't expecting I didn't know what to expect in this draft. I didn't know if, because new head coach was in town, he's an offensive minded guy, if it would change. Mike, we did draft offensively. You didn't see us go after many big spots defensively, of course, on the line. And it just every position you seen a little fill in for maybe the loss for Connor Hayward. a lot of different things went down, Mike, and it all seemed to cater toward the offense, which I thought I'd be interested to see play out, because at the end of the day, I don't know if I've ever really seen that in my life, Mike. We've always had a defensive minded head coach.
Yeah, and even when we had a draft offensive position, there was still a lot of defensive personnel mixed into those drafts, and only three defensive players, right, that we drafted in this draft. We waited till later in the rounds to get them. It sounds like they're hoping that player development and scheme will fix whatever issues that they had on defense. Time will tell. I know there's a couple guys I wanted us to draft that we did not pick. You end up using those on offensive players. So we'll see how it plays out. If they're comfortable with what we have on defense and they recognize the offense is where we need it, okay, go ahead and address those positions. Players that we picked on the offensive side are there to help a young quarterback. We got them a lot of weapons, and once we start talking about these picks, you're going to see how this offense is going to operate. I just have a feeling it's going to be a attacking the middle of the field type offense. Get the ball out of your hands to your playmakers. I don't think there's going to be a lot of behind the line passes, but attacking the quick hitters in the middle of the field to let these guys operate.
I do want to say a couple things, Mike. Mike Tomlin is taking a job. He didn't make that announcement yesterday. We'll get to that and more. And also, Mike, I do want to say that you now are not only the only person in town that is going to be known for your mullet, whenever your skillet, if you will, when it comes down to it. Because again, Mike, one of our draft picks just might have you beat. I don't want to break any secrets yet or anything like that. So we're going to get into it right now. Let's get into what our draft looked like, Mike. You know what? I screw that. I want to talk to everybody on the board. Let's get on the board first.
Let's get on the board. It's
absolutely 100% necessary. Again, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are coming in from today, guys. Glad to see everybody. I really am. It's like the day after Christmas, seeing all your friends, and all you want to do is talk about your gifts. Here we are. Cody says, what it do, nephew? Always great seeing Cody in the house. My man, he says this, Mike made jizz in his pants when they said Drew Aller. Mike?
I was asleep during that pick, and I woke up. The first message I see is from Derpy. Fuck you, Mike. Fuck you. Fuck you. That was what I woke up to.
Porter King, 1921 in the house. I do want to say good welcome to you. Welcome to the Terrible Board. Welcome to the show. Porter King says this, Steeler Nation, stand up. That's right, baby. You know what? There ain't no reason to not stand up. This is, again, like a lot of good things. Momentum for this Steeler team in a lot of ways. Psychological things, the players coming in, new coaching staff. So, again, stand up, Steeler Nation. We're almost there. We're going to get into some dates here shortly. We're going to look at when the schedule for the season is about to drop, and also everything coming up down the line here when we're going to see our Steelers back in action on the practice field, at least. So much going on. Let's go to Richard, my man. Always great seeing you on the board. Richard says this, now the draft is over. How much did we improve? Well, you know what, Richard, we'll get into that here in its entirety pretty soon, because, again, I do think that we improved. And, it's definitely going to be a point of conversation. Great to see you, Richard. Hope you had a great draft weekend. Let's scoot along if we can. Let's go right here to Tortilla. I'm sorry, Cody. Cody says this, Mike's wildest dreams have come true.
You know me, I have been the biggest Drew Aller supporter out there in the Steelers online community. I have been banging the drum for Drew Aller since his sophomore year at Penn State.
Tortilla says this, Drew Aller would have been the number 1 overall pick in space football.
He should have been the number 1 overall pick in every NFL draft in history. That's how good he is.
Let's go to Steel Loyal. He says, let's go. That's right, baby. Let's do this. Just Learning. Always great seeing you on the show. Always great seeing you on the Terrible Board. Just Learning says our GM is making us look dumb. First, GP should keep him now. Number 2, Lemon. That was kind of something I was curious about, too. Now that the draft has came and gone, how do people feel about what happened with Lemon? Apparently there was no ill feelings between the Steelers and the Cowboys, contrary to what was being said over the past couple of days. The Cowboys says this. Jerry Jones says, I don't want to start any trouble with them guys. So whatever. It's always a narrative. There's always a narrative, especially when Philadelphia is involved. But that is what's going on there. Let's scoot along here to this. Cody, Mike, okay, Tortilla. Drew Aller would have been, okay, we got that. I will scoot up is what I'll do. Let's go right here. Cody said, if anyone is mad or confused about the Aller pick, just get with Mike. That's his favorite player, and he will fill you in in its entirety.
Favorite player of all time. He has amazing footwork. It does not need work on. I don't know why everyone keeps saying his footwork sucks.
RB, our RB, of course, from right here on the show. RB jumps in and he says this. I just want to say before I just want to say this before shit hits the fan. Mock draft websites, big boards are not the gospel, and people need to stop taking them as that. Let's go to Tortilla. Tortilla right here says this. He says, I think we could have done better, but we still got some good players. Only ones I'm iffy on are Rubio and Aller. Let's go to Steel Loyal. He says the Ginger Yinzer has arrived. I know Mark Malone. I see him down the road on the board. I know he's excited. And again, Mike, the hay tosser, the redheaded mullet. I think a lot of people here in Pittsburgh are going to be excited about him, especially if he does well and
Yeah.
you know gets in there and gets it done. I think he becomes an instant fan favorite in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think he's going to be a really polarizing player because I have a feeling like he's either be really good or really not good. And if you love him, you're just going to overlook the fact that he might not be that good. I hope he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be a really good guard. But just looking, he just the looks and everything, I have a feeling people might overlook if there's any weaknesses in his game. But I think he's going to be a really good player. Him and Frazier and McCormick in the middle is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I agree. Let's just scoot up here. And you know what? We see them. I like the players from Iowa because we get to see them in their uniforms before we draft them.
Yeah, we know how good they're going to look.
We know how good they're going to look. Of course, always getting these guys from Iowa, Mike. It's almost like our pipeline here. I can't remember the last draft that we didn't get a guy from Iowa.
I know it's been a while.
Steel Loyal said agreed Cody says Mike might try to run on the field and steal Dunker's hair. And there it is. There's the skullet, guys, over top of his headphones. I've never seen anything like this, but there you go.
And this is how fired I am for Dunker.
Mike, I heard he's comparable to Mason McCormick, is what I'm reading.
Yeah, athletic guys, nasty guys, got clean up technique, but I think this was a really, really good pick, and he plays football with that nice demeanor that you like to see out of your interior guys. That nasty guy in the middle. He eats raccoon stew. How can you not like this guy? You got to be tough to eat raccoon stew. He's going to be fun to watch. Him and McCormick in the middle. Two fucking meatheads, opposite side Zach Frazier, and then you got Mad Max and then Fatanu. A really young, athletic, nasty line.
RB, I'm sorry, Cody says this. Mike fired up for Drew Aller. Steel Loyal says we finally got our wide receiver room. We sure do, man. What's up to Yinzer Joe? Always great seeing the OG Yinzer Joe in the house. He says, "What's up, Yinzers? Are you upset about the draft went for how the draft went for the Steelers?" As I am, I'm not. Listen, I'm not upset at all. I'm going to be honest with you. And we'll get more into why as the show goes along, but I am not upset. That's wouldn't be a good word to describe me. Let's go up on the board here to John. Dude, always great seeing Dude on the board. He says, afternoon, fellas. Afternoon, Dude. Hope everything was good for you this weekend. Let's go to right here. RB says, sorry guys, when I'm typing in an effing ad starts, it sends the message while typing. It's all good, man.
My bad, really.
It's all good, RB. Cody says this. We didn't get all Mike's Penn State guys, but his over the hill about Drew Aller.
We got the best one we could get.
RB says this. Derpy has picket hands. Picket hands and nasty knockers. Somber, always great seeing Somber on the terrible board. He says, howdy. Steel Loyal, sorry for spanking your ass last year. Colts, thanks. Yeah, love ya. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We haven't been really getting any favors from them. Not specifically last year, but a couple years prior. It was Colts losses that would have gotten us into the playoffs. However, or Colts wins. We needed them to win, and losses would have been a lot easier. However, they did lose and didn't help us, or whatever. However, what they effed us. Let's go here to Cody. He said we drafted Derpy just like everyone else. He was a 10th round pick. No one ever heard of. Let's go here to Hand-John Quinn. What's up, dude? Always great seeing Hand-John on the board. He says this: one things you can't teach is traits. Speed, size, speed, hands, nastiness, smarts, arm strength, vision is there of any of these picks that don't have just one. Most have multiple. Tortilla, he says, been whooping the Colts since 1911. Let's go here to Yinzer Joe. He says Con should be embarrassed, especially for it being in Pittsburgh. How do you not know you need to jump above the Ravens to get Vega, then you don't trade with Dallas for Lemon. I can't excuse it. You know what? Those are good points, good arguments. At this point, I just don't know if there's anything we could do about it. And again, we'll talk more about it. Steel Loyal says, Yinzer Joe, pipe down. Pipe down, bro. Let's go here to Steeler Freak. My man, Big John Stud, middle name Mud, all the way in from Las Vegas. John says this. I wrote Con was ranked 119, or he's ranked 19th, and I read that was laughable. What until the new rankings come out? Howie told him. Let's go to Yinzer Joe. He says, not happening, man. Pittsburgh fans say and show how they feel. Cody says, Derpy equal to Gabriel Rubio. but Derpy's dad wasn't also drafted by the Steelers. I think that's the one thing that does make this fun with Gabriel. We'll talk about that shortly. Tortilla says, Teflon Con. Always great seeing Tortilla all the way from Sacramento, California. Great seeing you, brother. Hope you had a nice weekend. Let's go here to Steel Loyal. So many casual fans. This shit just happens in every draft. It just doesn't get caught on camera. Our draft was amazing. Come on, they can't stop talking about how great this draft was, guys. And I think that a lot of people would agree with that. Again, breaking the record, 105,000, guys. The record was from Detroit from last year, 700, or 2 years ago, 775,000. The Steelers blow through that. Pittsburgh blows past that. Again, 805,000, the largest draft ever in the history of the draft, guys. So congratulations, everybody in town. Everybody came in town. Everybody, again, it went fantastic. And everyone that came in had a great time. So I think everybody won this weekend. Some people are saying we didn't win, though. So we'll get into so much today. Let's go to Steeler Freak. Steeler Freak says, Loyal, okay. Cody says, Omar Khan is cheeks. You guys are just catching on. Let's go to Hand John. He says this, they drafted football players, not just guys that play football. I haven't scooted on me. Let me just find it here. He says, okay, not just play football. Give them a chance to prove that. I believe we'll be surprised. John, the Steeler Freak, says this Pittsburgh is under investigation. Steel Loyal, I better not catch any of y'all cheering for us this year. Steel Loyal follows it up by saying, oh, this chat is pretty negative. LOL. Let's go here to Tortilla. It's not the end of the world until Drew Aller says it is. Cody says it is the end of the world. Stop telling people it's not. Always great with Cody in the house. Always great with Cody. Yinzer Joe says 6 out of our 10 picks aren't going to amount for shit, which a lot of times is the case if you think about it, Joe. I mean, you get your first three rounds, and that's why I was excited to get 5 picks in the top 100, because that's where your players come from. They come from the first 3, and then you kind of sift through everybody else, throw a couple guys on special teams, and pick a project. But at the end of the day, again, I don't hate. I didn't hate this draft. We'll grade it and give out how we feel today on the show. Let's go to Tortilla. He says this, Omar traded the world's water for the rights to Uranus. Somber says, I love May Tire signing. Of course, that was a big undrafted free agent signing. We'll talk about him shortly. Let's go to Cody. Cody says, Tortilla hopes the veteran receiver is MVS. Steeler Freak John, unsung, LOL, is stale and shallow, negative. I call it reality, not fantasy. Chatland. Steel Loyal, I hate all of our picks. I hate the Steelers. I hate myself. Chat right now. Let's go to Cody. He says, I hate myself. Tortilla. MVS washes Cody's back. And that MVS washes Cody's back. That I believe. Somber says they added some speed to the secondary. A little bit of work there, guys. Again, a totally offensive draft. I was totally curious to see how this thing was going to play out, with a new offensive-minded head coach. Because, again, in my life, we're all the way back to the beginning of the Super Bowl era. We have never seen that yet. An offensive coach coaching the Steelers, and we're having a draft. So, again, this was new. I like a lot of other things, Mike, moving forward through this offseason into the regular season. Mike, I'm going to hand it off to you for a couple comments, but I just want to say Mike did throw up a poll on the board here, guys. How do you feel the Steelers drafted this week? Give a grade. There's A, B, C, and then there's a failing grade. So anything below that, just put that there if that's what you think. Throw it up there. The votes are coming in. There is a poll. So dude, get on and fill that in. I want to see how people feel. Again, I'm seeing mixed feelings. Some people liked it. Some people didn't like it. Some people are like, okay, let's move on. Mike, your thoughts on the comments so far?
We were like we always say, we're never going to know how good this draft class is for another 3 years at least. So in 2029, we'll have a good idea of if this was a good draft or not. They wanted to fill in offensive holes that they thought they had. So we knew we needed a left tackle. We knew we needed a left guard. So not surprised in the top 100, we took one of each. Needed a wide receiver who can play inside, but also eventually play outside. They got that in Jeremy Bernard. I think that was a really good pick. Couple developmental, you got a developmental quarterback, a developmental D tackle. I wasn't a fan of that D tackle pick, but for a 6th round pick, okay. Some guys that were rated a whole hell of a lot higher than him did not get drafted. So Graham saw something there that he liked, so they took a flyer on him. That's fine. And I thought this was a really good draft that they did, but we won't know for another 3 years how good this draft was. But they want to address needs on the offensive side of the ball, which really wasn't surprising because Mike McCarthy, offensive guy, we know we need weapons on offense, and that's where they addressed their or spent their draft capital on, was addressing offensive needs. I think this was a solid draft class, but we won't know for a few years now to how this turns out.
Well, I'm going to go to Dax Anderson, the Dax Anderson Show. He says, "School Vikings. I understand Vikings had a good time. The Vikings fans had a great time in town. We thought that we had no problem really with any other people from any other towns. Guys, thank you for being awesome and enjoying the draft here in the Steel City." Let's go to RB. He says, "Also, I bet Money Everett is going to play, is going to be free safety, not a cornerback, and eventually turn into the Ramsey Swiss Army knife piece." Let's go to Cody. Cody says, "This at least we are hopefully done with the offensive line. That's the positive start."
Mm-hmm.
Tortilla Jackson says, "This, you guys think if TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith sat Carson Beck at the same time, they could squish his face back to normal?"
I hope so, because I'm getting ready to retire this picture. This might be the last day we see this picture of Carson Beck.
And God, thank goodness. If you ask me, thank goodness. Let's move on the board. Let's go to, oh, thank goodness. Go to Steel Loyal. He says, "Game ball already." Let's go right here to Steel. He follows it up by saying Tortilla wins. RB, Tortilla maybe. Let's see. RT maybe, but TJ can't get the quarterback. Mark Malone, always great seeing the great Mark Malone, the man, the myth, the legend on the terrible board. He says this: "Oh yeah, we missed out on Beck, but we did land the Dunkmeister." He says, "Mike, the Dunkmeister,
the Dykemeister,
Jennings Dunker. There he is, everybody. Possibly your new starting left guard for your Pittsburgh Steelers." A lot of people like that move, Mike. A lot of people talked about that for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy, oh, you know what? I'm going to get to that other guy in just a few minutes. We talked about last week, who said he didn't even want to take a phone call from the Steelers. We'll talk about where he got drafted later on. Let's go to Cody. Cody says Carson Beck went to the Cardinals. We can't even see. We ain't ever going to see that guy. Let's go right here to Steeler Freak. He says this. John says this at Steeler Freak: hiring Mike McCarthy for 5 years. Number one. Number two, waiting on Rodgers. 3, the draft F-ups. I don't hate all of them, he says. I don't hate it all. I do question the owner and team's so-called process, is what John is saying. Let's go up to Yinzer Joe, where Yinzer Joe says all the safeties are on a 1-year deal. Where was that draft pick, and who is defensive tackle? Rubio. Rubio actually, his dad was a draft pick of the Steelers back in the day. I'm not saying that's a great thing for him or that he's going to turn out to be anything. I'm just saying that his dad also got drafted over in the 7th round back in the day. Let's go to RB. He says Rubio was a stud before back-to-back injury-plagued seasons. Steel Loyal, Rubio had Vega on skates. I'm sorry. RB says this also, I think Everett will be a free safety to start, not a cornerback. Vegas banging the drum like JD Vance bangs couches. Let's go here to Steeler Freak. He says improved on papers is great for podcast discussions. Only time will tell. And that's all we could do. That's all we can do. We can't make it happen anytime sooner. We'll just have to see. That's going to be a guarantee, unless a comet comes and crashes our heads anytime in the meantime. But if that's not the case, then we will see. Let's go here to Somber. Cowboys fuck themselves. They have to see Lemon. That's what I thought too. My first thought was, why would you even do that? If you're going to screw over a team, you would screw over the team in your division. You wouldn't screw over the team. That's all I'm saying. And again, from what I'm finding out, it seems like maybe Philly, of course, Philly, knew what was happening, but I don't think that Dallas been anything malicious by making that trade. Let's go here to Vegas. Always Always great seeing Vegas on the terrible board, all the way from Las Vegas. He says this Dunker is already on a Head and Shoulders commercial. I'm sorry, that was Steel Loyal that said that. Let's go to Vegas. He says this: if Dunker does well, Troy will have him on Head and Shoulders commercials for sure. And then Steel Loyal said in response, Dunker is already on a Head and Shoulders commercial. Mike, if only we could get you on one of those Head and Shoulders commercials.
I should, mate. Look at this beautiful flowing mane. It changes colors on its own. Why is it not up there with Dunker and Palomalo? I'm being robbed.
Let's go on to right here where I'm going to go to TJ Live. TJ Going Live says this: Howard greater than Aller, amazing draft outside of Aller. He's coming off a broken ankle. He may never play like he did in college. We will see how he plays out. My thought was this: go out and get JJ McCarthy at this point. Just let these three Big Ten quarterbacks duke it out in the in camp. Just say, you know what, one of you three Big Ten guys are going to be the guy. Go out and compete. And Mike, where does this and just before we do scoot along, briefly, where does this put Mason Rudolph in the big picture, Mike? Again, we don't know what's going on with Aaron.
Yeah.
As they say. We also have Drew Aller. We also have Will Howard. Where does Mason Rudolph fit in the mix of this whole thing, Mike?
Right now, he's probably number 2 quarterback. If they the whole process, they said they like Howard. They want to add to the quarterback room for someone who has potential. So they get Aller. And right now you have Mason. If you had those three going into your season, I have a feeling Mason would be number 2 because this team is built for a young quarterback. So I think he's number 2. If Rodgers comes back, look for Mason Rudolph to be jettisoned and then them sign like another young quarterback to the practice squad, or like a vet who can be snuck onto the practice squad so they can have their 4, because there's no way you're going to be able to hide Howard or Aller onto the practice squad. Someone will pluck them easily.
Vegas says nice. Tater says Browns home run in the drag. Listen, well, hold on. First, I have to say this for Tater because it always is warranted. Tater Tart, of course, the Browns fan from across the pond. He likes the Browns for whatever reason. But Tater, I do want to say a couple of things. They did have a nice draft. I give you that. And Cleveland Browns fans weren't as annoying as they usually are. Again, everybody was amazing. They came into town. Nothing but good reports from everybody. So I think we'll take it easy on Tater today. Just a couple of sound effects. But besides for that, we're going to take it easy on Tater. Let's scoot along here to Steel Loyal. He says this, Mike, how about Carnell Tate, Tater? What happened? Let's scoot along. Mark Maloney says, how does play with the mean streak? He does play with the mean streak, no doubt about it. Vegas says this, does he crap in the woods like Uncle Shannon? Tortilla, Browns did have a good, no, absolutely, they didn't. And listen, if they didn't, I would tell you they didn't. And this is where this listen, Tater, this shows you how honest I am, because they did. I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit you. And they had a nice draft. I thought, damn, good for them. Let's go here to Skiller Freak. John says Dunker is advanced. Next, he will have his own podcast. Nah, they don't do that in Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah, they do. One of our stars even has a show called Everything But Football or some shit like that. And yeah, whatever. Let's go to the next message on the terrible board today, right here, where Tater says constipation in Boston instead, bro. Let's go to Yinzer Joe. That's because the Browns and Ravens stole our draft card. Let's go here to Steel Loyal. You got our guy, constipation. You'll love that, don't you? You'll love that, don't you, shit eater? Tater says KC and Boston straight into the offense. Whatever. It's Cleveland. Steel Loyal says, yeah, because y'all don't have anyone else, Tater. Tater says, don't worry. You'll be picking 1 or 2 or 3. I highly doubt that. I'm pretty sure the Browns will be in last place. They never are not. And they've been picking, Mike, they've been picking in the top 5 every year for the past 30 years. So come on. It's
how many drafts you can go back, look through and see like, oh, the Browns had like one of the best drafts and they do nothing with it. Like you got some good guys, but until we see it on the field, I'm not going to believe it, because
never.
I got you. They get good players all the time because where they're consistently picking it, and they can't develop them, or they do develop them and they use them wrong and they ship them out of town. It's you don't have a quarterback. Yeah, you have all these nice new weapons on offense, but you don't have a quarterback.
I do want to say this. If you're just walking in, do hit the poll when you walk in, guys. Let us know how you felt the Steelers did in the draft. A lot of mixed emotions today. I can't really get a feel overall how people felt that the draft went for the Steelers. So do throw your votes up on the poll when you walk in, guys. It's graded as it would be in school. Very simple. Right here, Steel Loyal says that's not an insult. Robert, I do want to say what's up to Robert on the terrible board. Always great seeing you. He says, do Derpy's breasts make his hands look so small? Yes. Yes, Robert, they do. Let's go here to
Derpy.
Cody. Cody says this: I like the draft. I feel like the Steelers went in thinking they were a couple pieces away from being a championship team, and we got what we needed and got the F out. And that's what Art Rooney. That's what Rooney came along and said. Mike, he says, I'm not disappointed about that first round blunder because we went in planning on getting alignment in that first round. So
Yeah.
So fans are more upset where it could have happened. It might have happened. But at the end of the day, with that being said, who knows? He could have still been sitting there, and we still could have grabbed a lineman. So imagine how that would have been. But let's do Scoot along on the board. Always great seeing you, as always, Robert. I hope you had a great weekend, brother. Let's go right here to Cody. Says this. We just got him. I'm sorry, Tortilla. Y'all had a good draft last year, and still got. That's what I'm saying. Cleveland has a good draft every year, and they always finish in last place. Always in last place, Tater. Always in last place. How long have you been a Browns fan? I'm just curious, if you don't mind me asking, Tater. Let's go here to Mark Malone. I'm actually glad we didn't get Lemon in the moment. I was hoping for Cooper or Concepcion. Also, let me scoot here to John. He says, I guess Khan felt like he didn't have enough draft picks to trade up. Tortilla, Grandpa is having a smoke break. Yeah, man, come on. Back off. He's out on his ayahuasca retreat. Don't worry about what our quarterback's doing. Worry about what your quarterbacks are doing. Believe me, your guys are way off worse than ours is. Let's go here to Tater. He says, Khan had a shocker. Even the ESPN crew said. I don't know what that shocker was. That was exactly what we set out to pick, actually. Let's go here to Steel Loyal. I wanted Cooper Jr. in the first. Was fine. And that was the one that got me. They didn't grab Cooper Jr. That's what makes me wonder if they would have grabbed Mekhi Lemon with that pick. Because, again, you're sitting there thinking, oh, they're going to grab Cooper Jr. then because he's right there. And they didn't.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder. Again, a lot of people upset that they didn't get Mekhi Lemon. But at the end of the day, Mike, you had an Omar Cooper Jr. sitting right there. And you still went and got your offensive lineman, which was plan A.
Yeah, and they probably went in thinking, like there's no way Lemon's going to fall down, because they did say they tried to trade up in the draft, they tried to trade back, but nothing worked for how they wanted to move the rest of the draft. So they stayed put, and Lemon was falling there. So they're like, oh god, the guy we thought we'd have to trade up for is going to get us. Okay, we get him. He wasn't there. Okay, we're going to their next option, which is going to be offensive line. And like we've been saying for a while now, the show that NRB was pointing out too, like the gaps between some of these receivers, it wasn't that far of a gap from like a Lemon to a Cooper to a Bernard, even all the way down to people like Ted Hurst. It was not a big of a chasm as going from your first round tackles to your second and third round tackles. That talent gap was massive. So it made sense. Okay, we missed out on Lemon, who we thought we'd have to trade up for. Okay, go to the next best position that we had on the board, which is Mad Max. You get him, and then you work the rest of the draft, and you get Bernard. And Bernard's not that far off from, talent-wise, from a Boston, from a Cooper, from a Lemon. So they got really good value on those two picks right there.
Let's go here to... and you know what? He finished that comment up. Steel Loyal did. Super hype. We got Bernard. I just like the fact that his name is Jeremy. It's not even Jeremy. It's actually Jeremy.
I love it.
How can you not like a guy named Jeremy? That's just my opinion. Let's do Scoot along. Yeah,
go watch this stuff from Alabama, how they used him, and watch the way he gained separation with the routes, and when he gets the balls in his hand, he's fun to watch.
Let's go right here to Pastor 5217. God bless you, brothers. God bless you as well, sir. Thank you for the message on the board. Let's scoot along right here to Cody. Cody be saying this on the board. He says, I'm not as hyped about Bernard, but I also don't know much about him. At least he can catch the ball. Maybe he can show JPJ and DK they need all the help they can get.
Like, one of the best evals I saw about Bernard is like the guy was like, he's boring. And that, the ball gets to him, he catches it and makes a move, and guys miss, and he picks up yards. Like, it's not flashy. It's just he does what he's supposed to do, and
what you want?
You just move on.
What you want your players to do?
Yeah,
do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but it's like, oh my god, this
don't be fucking weird. Don't fucking be weird. Don't cause problems. Just do what you're
He's
supposed to do. Don't run backwards. Don't drop balls you're supposed to catch. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't walk past a live ball bouncing around right in front of you. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't punch a fan in the head out of nowhere when you're in Detroit. Do what you're supposed to do. I don't care if this guy is not exciting at all. Like, if he's productive and if he leaves the trash at the door, I'm so into that. As I'm fine with that. Again, Lemon, say what you want. There's different reports. It's not just his weird head movements. There's some weird things coming out. I'm okay with this, guys. Believe me, Jeremy Bernard is going to be very good. Mike, patching him in with Pittman and DK for this season.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. Again, you still have Roman, a couple other things going on we'll talk about here shortly. But again, Mike, I didn't hate this draft. I think a lot of people disliked it. Very unhappy. But again, we'll look at the poll later. Let's go here to Somber says, I can tell a lot of people haven't looked into these players we acquired. And that's all right. And you know what, Somber? Listen, they probably not. But at the end of the day, I always got to say this. Some people were heavier into fandom than other people. That's not saying the people that don't look into these things aren't great fans. You know, that just isn't their forte. That isn't why they are in or what they do. So, again, that's cool. That's why we're all here to talk about it. Maybe we'll catch some people. Maybe some people will catch us up when it's all said and done. So, not but you're probably right. You're probably right. Let's go here to Steel Loyal. They haven't at Somber. It's very evident. Scoot along to Robert. He says this Gabriel Rubio was a four-star recruit to Notre Dame. He was rated as the 9th best high school defensive tackle in America. He fractured his ankle before the 2024 season and then had an elbow injury in 25. I do want to say what's up to Christine. Go Black and Gold. Always great seeing Christine on the terrible board. I know that she had a good weekend. I think that she enjoys her Steelers, and I hope you had a great weekend, Christine. Let's go to Han John. He says, would you rather have an A+ draft grade now that ends up being a C, or a C that ends up being an A? I think the latter. But we will see how that plays out. Steel Loyal says this. He says, Tater, you don't get the vote. Well, we'll know who's his. Well, you believe me, we'll know who his is. JT going live says B+. When we finally give our grades, I'm going to say mine is almost I'm just going to say it's close to that. We'll get to that shortly. Into Joe says, yes, I've looked into players we've drafted. They all have potential. Tater says, Mike, Drew Aller is a Browns fan. You can't make that shit up.
You know who also was a Browns fan? He won 2 Super Bowls as a Steelers quarterback.
Yeah. People come to Ohio. People come from Ohio and do okay in Pittsburgh. It's just in Ohio they're not ever successful. Let's go to Steel Loyal. He says, I know you put failed. Let's scoot up here a little bit more on the board. Steel Loyal, he ain't anymore. Steel Loyal, we stole another brownie. Let's go right here to Steeler Freak John. Only about 30% of all drafted players make a significant long-term contribution to the team. The draft takes up so many folks' personal time, like they are GMs, and isn't that irrelevant? Hola, Christine. Always great seeing Christine. Vegas says on the board, Mad Mark Malone. Mad Mark Malone says, funk that. IMAX, Dunker, Bernard need to be contributing to day one. I think they will. They'll certainly be in the mix. Whatever happens beyond that, I don't know. But they'll certainly be in the mix. You have to have your top 3 guys, your top 3 rounds at least. Some kind of hope for them. Robert says this Rubio might turn out to be a great gamble that the Steelers took if he can stay healthy. Steel Loyal, he says this. He says Rubio was a pure upside pick. Tater says, is Baldy there happy with the year rejects? I mean, picks. Baldy, are you happy with the picks?
No one gets to call me Baldy Tater except Derpy.
Michael, are you happy with the picks?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's go here to Joe. Joe says, where's the D? Yeah, you know what? I was going that was the plan. But Mike informed me, he's like, the poll only takes 4 answers, which is crazy to me. But that's why it's set up the way that it is. I said, go A, B, C, and then do a failing grade. I don't know why it just wouldn't let us do a 5th one. But that is what that's about. Let's go here to Vegas. Nobody is letting that face watch their kids. Like Frankie Mush, or whatever his name was on A Bronx Tale. Let's go here to Tater. He says, okay, we did get that. Tater got his panties in a bunch today, don't he?
Mm-hmm.
Christine, she says this. I like the players, and I am excited to see what they can do. But the McCarthy and Omar got a big fat F for the incompetence in reaching. I'm and up until the last pick, which was 100%. She says on that. I see. I'm not as pessimistic. Again, we're gonna get into a lot of this stuff today. Robert says Jack Lambert grew up a Browns fan. He sure as hell isn't a Browns fan now. That's usually how that plays out. Let's go Steel Loyal. He looks like a Clydesdale. Jason Kelsey. Let's go to Cody. He said, I watched Bernard and Wetchen. Bernard is nice. I think I'm more hyped about Wetchen. The returner specialist ran a great routes in the Shriner Bowl. I think he can become an elite receiver, of course, from the Iowa team as well, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Another Iowa player. Surprise.
He's a small, shifty little white guy out there. You know, it worked. It worked for the Patriots. Why can't it work
Mike,
for
that's
us?
what I'm going to say. Well, our last pick of the draft and Wedgen, Mike, these guys are both being talked about as those guys like Danny Woodhead and guys that Bill Belichick pulled out of his growing yard. He grew these little white guys that all had this same talent, and he seemed to get a new one every year. Mike, both of these guys are falling into that category, which is not a bad thing. Somber did address something that we started to talk about briefly. Yes, Dante Corleone. He did not get drafted. He is the player that refused multiple times to take phone calls from the Steelers prior to the draft to talk to them. He says, I'm from Cincinnati. I just hate the Steelers. And you know what? Not only did the Steelers not draft him, no one drafted him. Nobody drafted Dante Corleone. So there you go. He's going to have to find an offer he can't refuse. Somebody's going to take him.
Yeah. I think too. Like he has like a blood clot issue too that no one really talked about until the draft was over. Like I wasn't aware of that. Like he had that big medical issue right there. I didn't read that anywhere until the draft was done. So I bet that's why a lot of teams didn't draft him either. Is because you got blood clot issues. Okay, we ain't taking a chance on a nose.
Give us the guy with all the blood clots, please. Yeah. Let's go here to RB. Says McCormick and Fatano will both slide to the left, which is their natural sides and better fits. Dunker and Mad Max will play the right-hand side.
Yeah. That wouldn't be bad. I'd rather have my stronger two on my left side.
Tater, he says that they're just so going to kick our ass this year, and I totally agree. I mean, listen, I think we'll beat them both times this year. I do. I think I don't think yes, they had a nice draft, but they always have a nice draft. Always. And they never finish out of last place. So again, until it happens, Tater, I just can't. I can't. I just can't. So we will see. Let's go to Robert. He says the Clot father is a Jaguar now. He's a Jag.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
They must have just got him recently because I did a quick look before the show and I missed it.
Somber's dad never played. Talking about Rubio, he was a 7th round pick for the Steelers back in the day. Yinzer Joe says we drafted a returner. I know it was a need, but dang, it's not a 100% need. Let me ask you this though, Joe. At that point in the draft, I mean, you're really, as you get past that 100th pick, if you will. I mean, a lot of people were kind of in that same boat. You don't find greatness, you find surprises and diamonds in the rough, if you will. So again, beyond the first 5, for the returner and other picks, yes, we could have picked other people, but on the other hand, we would probably be complaining about them to a degree also, Mike, again, you get past that 3rd round, it's a crapshoot.
It's a crapshoot, and we don't know how they're going to utilize him outside of kick return. Can he line up in the backfield and fill like a Kenny Gainwell type role? The limited amount of time he was on offense, it was used for screen passes. So are we going to see more screen passes from this offense? Is he going to be someone who can attack the middle of the field on little, crossing routes? The way that we just said how New England terrorized teams for years. We don't know yet how they're going to be used. So once training camp starts rolling around and we see him lining up wide receiver, running up at running back, this pick might make a whole hell of a lot more sense than him just being seen as just a returner. It sounds like this offense, just based on how they drafted, you're going to see guys lining up in multiple formations because Bernard, in college would take snaps at running back. They moved him around the formation. The tight end we got out of Indiana lined up in different spots throughout the formation. So it sounds like they're going to use guys in a lot of different roles on offense and on special teams. So we don't know yet how he's going to be moved or used. So just to say he's just a returner, I think that's a bit of a reach. We got to wait to see how he's going to be used.
And this was something that you did lose your pitch.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen. Okay, and that is one thing that we are hearing. And Mike McCarthy is excited to use these different weapons in different ways. He says we're going to do some different things this year, so be ready. And that's very exciting, guys. Again, a lot of offense in this draft this year. I was curious how it was going to play out under the new offensive-minded head coach. Again, the first draft in my life where we had an offensive-minded head coach. So it doesn't surprise me. But let me get to Christine's message here, and this kind of goes about what I'm saying. She says this: all those phenomenal safeties and DTs we passed on, all of them for players that weren't even supposed to be drafted. Kuiper couldn't even figure out who that one dude was. And you know what? At the end of the day, let's look at it though, Christine. We went into this 5 years ago and decided that we were going to build this team from the lines out. That way, when you do get a franchise quarterback, you have solid line play. And if you don't have solid line play, you're not going to do many things in the NFL. You have to have solid offensive line and a solid defensive line. Now, I do question the defense because, again, at the end of the day, not much was done in the 5 middle positions, the 2 linebackers and the 3 offensive linemen. And that makes me ask, how is that going to be when it comes down to stopping the run this year? So that's a different conversation for a different day. But what they did do 5 years ago, they committed to a plan. Omar Khan, and at the time, a different GM, and then Weedle came, and so this was the plan. Start with that line, make it strong. That way you have solid foundation for the next 5 to 8 years. And then you build along the way, and then maybe next year in the draft in DC, we find that quarterback, or we figure something out this year. We find one of these guys ends up being the guy, whatever it is. So again, also, Christine, with that being said, I do want to say this. Rudy did come out and say that we were going to go after that offensive lineman. So people are freaking out over the Mekhi Lemon when we weren't even going to go after him anyway. And to prove that, the very next pick, Omar Cooper Jr. was sitting right there, and we still didn't grab this high-end wide receiver at number 21. So these are some things to show you that we as fans were a little bit off as well. Perhaps Mel Kiper, because the Steelers did have a goal in mind, and they did stick with that goal. You got to give them some praise for sticking to your guns when sometimes it's really easy to get off track. Would you have loved to have an Omar Cooper? Absolutely. Mekhi Lemon, the more and more I'm hearing, again, I'm not going to get into it, but again, he may be a bit of a head case. Whether he is or he isn't, I don't know. But Mike, Omar Cooper sitting right there, that tells me that that Mekhi Lemon just might not have flew, even if we did have that pick right there.
Yeah, and that tells me, like, if he was there, cool, they probably, when they were on the phone with him, they were going to take him just because, he fell. They weren't expecting that. They followed their plan there. And then later in the draft, they were drafting guys to flush out the offense. What was the position of need? Playmakers on offense. So we went with guys that they feel can help out in that area. And you're going to, by getting those picks, you kind of see what this offense is going to be: a quick strike offense, a quick hitters across the middle type offense. And then occasionally, you hit those short intermediate routes and then occasionally take the top off on some of these throws. And Mel Kiper not knowing who Rubio was, like Mel Kiper said, Jimmy Clausen was going to have this great NFL career, and if he doesn't, I will never do this again. So I never put any stock into what like Mel Kiper says, or even like a Todd McShay for that matter. I don't care about instant grades in the draft. You don't know how good these picks are going to be for another 3 to 4 years. I flipped out when we drafted TJ Watt. It turned out to be a really good pick. I flipped out when we drafted Lamar Woodley and Timmons back to back. Like, why the hell are we doing this? They're good picks. We don't know how good these guys are going to be for years down the line, and we don't know how the teams are going to use the guys that we drafted, and not addressing safety and D tackle when we wanted to. They signed D Lowry. He's not a great player, but he's a nice depth piece. They brought in Day. They're going to have a whole new scheme, so they're probably hoping scheme and player development will help fix some of these issues on the back end of that defense. And that's why they invested a lot into the offense.
I'm going to go right. I just want to jump down to Yinzer Joe real quick. I understand that, Joe, but there was nothing there for us to pick at that point. However, the process was get a lineman. So you got basically the best possible lineman. There was like 6 or 7 tackles taken in the first round. I mean, that's uncalled of. So, I mean, if they were there, that was obviously the plan. But at the end of the day, they just weren't. And again, going in the game plan, sticking with your guns, they got an offensive lineman. So, again, I don't know if again, very interested. Do throw your votes up on the terrible board on that poll. I'm really interested to see how that turns out today. We're going to talk about that near the end of the show. Let's go to Cody. He says, I learned Rubio is great on special teams and blocking field goals. We'll take that. Steel Loyal says, ignore Mel Kiper Jr. at Christine. Laugh my ass off. Steel Loyal says, at all times. Let's go here to Somber. He says, put Mason back on his farm. Richard, always great seeing Richard on the board. He says, maybe they can get some draft capital from trading Mason. Let's scoot here to Steel Loyal. We ain't getting nothing from Mason. Laugh my ass off. John says this. He says, the Howard Huggers are not happy, which I think is an amazing camp competition between these two guys.
Yeah.
Come on, a couple of Big Ten guys. They were going at it a couple of years ago against one another. I think they should have been. So it'll be fun to see these guys play out. And you know what? If he doesn't play out, then we can give Mike all kind of shit about Penn State. So either way, we win here in Pittsburgh. We'll take it.
We all win. And, we'll I have a theory that Howard's going to look better a lot earlier, and then Aller might look better later as their time here in Pittsburgh goes on. But only time will tell. Mike McCarthy has two young quarterbacks to work with. Him and Tom Arthur are excited to work with them. And if one of these guys pans out, yeah, awesome. If not, oh well, you move on. You didn't spend a first-round pick on these guys.
All right,
it still doesn't preclude us from taking one next year if we want to.
We are an hour in, Mike. We're going to go through this draft that the Steelers had. We'll talk about the undrafted free agents that we did sign as well here shortly. Of course, guys, let's just blow through this. We all know who the Steelers got, but we'll take a moment just to comment on each of them. Mike, Mad Max, number one pick for the Steelers, 21 overall, not being able to grab Mekhi Lemon, whether they were or whether they weren't. We don't know this, but from Arizona State, Mike, going out and getting an offensive lineman, I think, was the goal first and foremost for the Steelers. Mad Max, what's your brief thought on that pick?
I like it. A lot of upside. Only played football for 3 years and is on par, or if not a step ahead, better than some of the guys drafted in front of him. So that means there's a lot of potential to unlock with this guy. The two new O-line coaches are just licking their chops to work with this kid. I think it's a good pick.
Number 2 at 47 overall, of course, using the trade from Indianapolis, they're able to get their wide receiver. Again, you get an offensive lineman first, and you were able to get a Jeremy Bernard in the second. I'm not complaining. I'm just not. Like the wide receiver from Alabama, played with Tyler Simpson. Of course, a lot of talk in the offseason about Simpson. Him not coming here, though, in the draft, Mike. Number 2 pick for the Steelers, Jeremy. And again, how can you not like a guy whose name is spelled Jeremy, Germie? Mike, your thoughts on Jeremy Bernard?
He's going to start inside at be the number 3 receiver. He can play inside, outside. You can line him up in the backfield. Sure-handed receiver, a crafty route runner. Doesn't have blazing speed, but uses the way he sets up his routes to gain that separation. Good pick, and someone who can eventually move to the outside as well. So really good pick right there.
Let's go to the next one, Mike. This is the 4th pick in the draft. It is the first draft in the 3rd round. Of course, Drew Aller, the quarterback from Penn State. We've talked a lot, Mike, so just make that brief and we will scoot along.
A lot of work needs to be done. Tongue in cheek, I am the number 1 Drew Aller fan. I watched him for years at Penn State. I'm not happy with this pick, but if they think they can get something out of him, go for it. They wanted him, they got him, but he needs a lot of work. He's at least a 2-year project.
Number 4 overall, Mike, in Steelers draft. Of course, this also landing at the 85th pick in the 3rd round. Dalen Everett, the cornerback from Georgia. Some people are really liking this pick, Mike.
I like this pick too. He's someone that I had targeted in this area for the Steelers. He can play inside, outside, has speed, has hands. I think he's had 2 really big interceptions in back-to-back SEC championship games. He's a willing tackler. He's got to clean up his technique on it, but not afraid to put his nose in there. And someone that can play all around in that defensive backfield. I like this pick.
Last pick in the 3rd round for the Steelers, 121 overall, of course. Wetchen, Mike, Caden Wetchen, the wide receiver returner we talked about briefly, out of Iowa. What do you like about him?
I like one that, he explosive speed, really good shifty returner. It looks like someone that you can use in your passing game for a quick passing game.
All right, let's crack into the 5th round, Mike. Riley Nowakowski, the tight end from Indiana. What do you think about him?
A RB is going to kill me for this, but just to dumb it down, think a better Connor Hayward, a do-it-all guy on the offense, can play H-back and play tight end, does all the dirty things that you need guys to do to win games. I really like this pick.
See, I thought Mark Malone would jump me at this point. Let's go back. I did it on purpose. Let's check out Jennings Dunker. I was waiting for Mark to just bust through the screen and tear me out of my skin. Guys, of course, they're picking the third round. Jennings Dunker, the offensive tackle from Iowa. We love the hair here in the Berg. Come on, you couldn't be any more Yarmer Yager.
Right. I really like this pick. Someone that he's going to move inside to guard. He has technique stuff he needs to figure out, but an athletic, aggressive athlete, just someone who's going to beat the shit out of you game in, game out. He's going to get his, but he's also going to get got early on in his career. But I think him, Frazier, McCormick in the middle is going to be a fun trio to watch.
All right, let's jump back down to the 6th round, Mike. Of course, the defensive tackles come up on the board a couple times today. Gabriel Rubio out of Notre Dame, Mike. Some injuries, but besides for that, he could have been a nice pick.
This 6th, 7th round is where you start picking guys that you think might have potential. This pick right here screams Corey Trace. Injury prone, a lot of potential. If you can get something out of him, great. If not many 6th round picks make the NFL. So worth a gamble at this point in the draft. If he works out, you got a big bastard on the D line. If he doesn't work out, oh well, you move on. Not everyone's like an Aaron Smith coming out of these rounds.
And then 2 7th round picks, Mike. Of course, Robert Spears Jennings, the safety out of Oklahoma, and followed up. Go ahead, talk about Jennings for a moment.
Jennings, a real speed guy back there in the secondary. Played a lot in the box. I know the secondary coach said he wants him to try to play more free safety. So they might be trying to turn him into a ball hawking free safety, but he can fly out there. Another, project 7th round guy. Don't be surprised to see him a lot on special teams as well.
And of course, the last pick, Mike, at number 230, Eli Heidenreich. He is, of course, the running back from Navy, from right here from, I believe, Mount Lebo. Was it Mount Lebo? Mount Lebanon?
Yeah, he's Mount Lebo.
Mount Lebo comes back, has an amazing draft night. Very, very emotional. Comes from Navy. A little bit about Eli. Another one that's being talked about having some of those Bill Belichick white guy skills that he kept plucking out of nowhere.
Yeah, he was set the record for the most catches and receiving yard in Navy history. It's not a surprise that they don't throw the ball there a whole lot, but he's going to be one of those guys that can fill that Kenny Gainwell role, can play you line him up in the slot, line him up in all different areas, just to get the ball in his hands and let his athletic ability take over. He's not going to be a between the tackles type runner. I don't think you're going to see him get the ball on handoffs unless you're looking at like jet sweeps or surprise hitters like that. He's going to be used more in the passing game.
And also, Mike, a big part of the Navy's recent success, certainly against Army last year. Navy looked really damn good, and he played a big part of that. So good on him for that, guys. Let's move along. Let me get back on the board here. We got a lot to get into today. Don't forget to get on and throw your pick up on or your vote up on the poll. I want to see how everybody graded the draft this year. I'll give my grades at the very end of the show today. But let's get back on the board, Mike. I don't want to miss out on anybody today. I gotta find where we're at. Christine, she said, "Hey, beautiful people." I think we were further down than this. I don't know, maybe not. We are farther along than that. We were way further along. I'm gonna jump in right here because I think this is close. Cody says, "I learned." Okay, we did get that. Steel Loyal says this: ignore Mel Kiper Jr. at Christine. We're a little further than that as well. Steel Loyal says we ain't getting nothing from Mason. Richard says don't be a hater, Steel Loyal. Congrats, Tater. Y'all 2 good drafts in a row. Hey, look at these guys, huh? Let's go. Steel Lawyer says, you joking? Steeler Freak says this. The Steelers aren't getting anything more from Rodgers. Tater, thank you. Somber defense is beast. Offense approved number 12. And you got rid of your defensive coordinator. So I'm sure the Crowns will fall to a disaster as they always do. But don't take my word. We'll just wait it out, Tater. You just wait and see. Let's go right here to Vegas. Aaron's going to be quarterback 1 for the next 2 seasons. Steel Loyal. Shador ain't even wearing number 12, Tater. Learn your team. Let's go here, Somber. I honestly don't care who the quarterback is at this point. As long as it's not Mason, I feel like it wouldn't change the outcome the way the team is constructed. Let me go to Brian Baffled. I do want to say welcome to the show to Brian Baffled. Welcome to the Terrible Board. I didn't like the selections while watching live, but after thinking more about it, I like the players. That's exactly how I was. I wasn't loving it, but when you sit back and you start reading and looking at numbers and just different variables, I became a fan of this draft. Let's go here to Somber. He says, yeah, he switched to number 2. College. Steel Loyal. Bro, don't even know his quarterback's number. Come on, Tater. Let's go to Tater. That's it, Brian. Convince yourself. Hold on. Let me go back to what Brian said. I just want to see how stupid what Tater said was. I don't know. I don't know where it went. I had him right here. All right, I'm going to move along. Let's go right here to Somber. We did get Somber on that. Brian, okay, he says watching. Yeah, no, I agree. Tater, you're wrong. Let's scoot up to Scott Atkins. Always great seeing Scott. Scott Atkins says this: screw the Eagles and the Cowboys. I'd rather have Mad Max and Bernard than Small Lemon and Markel Bell. I hope to see Fatano at left, Max at right, Frazier at center, McCormick at right, Dunker at left, which is more than likely going to be the case. Somber, Lemon was clearly higher on their board. And you know what? Listen, if they wanted him really bad, didn't they move up to get their other receiver? Why didn't they? You know, people are saying that it's incompetence, but to me, it didn't seem like they were too upset at the time or after. People were saying, well, the Omar was stuttering. I'm not saying it, guys, because Omar Cooper Jr. was available the very next pick, and we didn't take a receiver. So if we were that high on a receiver at that particular point, I'm going to stay with the narrative that they were committed to picking in the line again. And
it's all where you have each individual player rated too and evaluated. If you think a player has a higher upside than this player, regardless of position, they're probably going to go get them at the position of need. So if you had Mad Max rated as an overall higher prospect than Omar Cooper Jr., why don't you just go get the higher rated project, because they're both positions of need? Why would you get the lower rated player on your draft board?
Let's go right here to Hand-John. Hand-John says this: Browns will get their quarterback next year, then again the next year, and then again the next year. That sounds about right. That's the Browns we know. Tater says ESPN said you drafted a pile of crap. And Tater, you're retarded. Look, this is Tater. This is for you. Somber says if plan B was tackle, they didn't have Cooper ranked that highly. Simple. Well, I don't think that plan B was the tackle. I think plan A was the tackle or the guard. Offensive line, defensive line could have qualified. Let's go to somewhere. Okay, right here. John the Steeler Freak says this: Rooney isn't starting at risk. Young quarterback. He would go in and find an old vet, so wishful thinking. Let's scoot up a little bit here to Fitness Addict 1974. What's up? Always great seeing Fitness Addict. Yeah, what up? He says it's been a while. Great seeing you. Hope things are going well for you. Mark Malone says he can pick his way through traffic. Tater, how many picks did you use? 10. We did use 10. Yes. Somber said yes. Also, Fitness Addict says I'm stoked about our picks. Our offensive line and wide receiver room is stacked. I agree. Even though we didn't get as many wide receivers as I would hope for. However, we did, we touched on it in some areas. Joe says Jeremy feels like he'd be out for other issues. We missed on him, and that's fine. Oh, wait, it moved on me, and I was reading 2 different messages. Jeremy feels like he'd be out for a month, and at least because of a cold. LOL, gotcha, because he's Jeremy. Scott Atkins says this: I wish they would have taken the Skylar Bell in the 4th. If he runs back a couple kicks for touchdowns, I'll stand corrected on the Iowa kid. Somber says, let's not cope by saying Lemon has other issues. We missed on him. Well, I mean, that's not proven, Somber. I mean, that's that's obviously speculation, and people are saying it. But again, we didn't make we seen him dropping down the board. We made no effort to move up. And again, at the end of the day, Rooney's saying that wasn't the case. We're not even upset with Philadelphia, and Dallas is coming out saying that, listen, we don't want any problems with the Steelers, and why would you trade to a team in your division? So again, there's a lot of things saying to me that they weren't going to take him. It's a good pick. It's falling down a draft, but again, Omar Cooper Jr. was there at the very next pick. If you're thinking high receiver now, you're like, okay, well, we missed on Lemon. Let's turn around and grab Omar. They didn't. They went with that offensive line position. So again, they probably didn't want the talent level to drop any more at the offensive line position, because again, as we stated, they've already went through about 7 tackles in the first round. So they needed to get something, and at that point, he was about the highest we were going to get. So until somebody says that they got one pulled on him, I'm reading otherwise. And listen, I know people want Mekhi Lemon, but it's just not the way it bounced, I guess. Let's go. Where are we going? We're going right around here to Steeler Freak. Paid athletes to entertain aren't the best folks to look for normal. You can't do that behavior. Let's scoot up right here to Mark Malone. He says this Rubio actually does look like Juan Valdez. No BS. Tater, 10 picks on a rubber. Yeah. Well, see us during the regular season like the past 40 years, Tater. I have to just stop right there, because beyond that, Tater's out of his mind. Somber says this: our team is ready for a quarterback. Tater is yours. Christine says this. I'm going to jump on board right here. Christine says McDonald, Emmanuel Warren, Orange Pregnon will still be on the board when we took Aller to our. See, I thought Aller being that early was a mistake as well. That was the one pick that I would have a problem with getting that pick at your first third round pick. Was not ideal to me. She also says, I have no problem with him. Just thought we could have got him later, which we could have, and grabbed a guard, defensive tackle, safety, linebacker, which, Christine, we didn't address that run defense at all. So just, again, something to think about. We did give up 250 yards in the game against Buffalo, and we did nothing basically on those middle 5 positions on defense. Let's go right here to Tater. Tater says, that's Somber. You're ready. Who's your meth dealer, bro? Tortilla says, Tater seen more quarterbacks come and go than Nick Saban. Somber also says, tell me where we're deficient other than free safety and quarterback. Tater says the waters of the AFC North are. I'm sure they are. It's only been
they say that every year up there.
It's only been taking 40 years. So I'm not going to hold my breath on that. So let's go to Sosh, though. I do want to say what's up to Sosh all the way from Switzerland. He says, hello, you sexy bastards. Hello. He's obviously talking to us. He says, greetings from sunny and warm Switzerland. Not a fan of this draft, but it's all right. He says, could have been worse, reached a bunch, but whatever. 2027 is the class to nail. You're right. You're right. You're not wrong. Still Loyal says, laugh my ass off. Tater must be on drugs. Let's go here to Scott. Scott Atkins says, I can't wait to see the preseason battle between Howard and Aller. I prefer the gamer and Howard over the rocket arm of Aller.
If you combined the best traits of both of them, you got yourself a good quarterback.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, Mike.
I know.
Let's go. Let's go here to Somber says, LOL Delulu. Of course, Tater again proving he's delirious, says Pittman sucks. Let's do go more. And this is again somebody that's a Browns fan telling you your guy sucks. So just yes, please go on, Tater, because you're literally making yourself look silly. Still Loyal says this. What does Steel Loyal say? Steel Loyal says, all I see are pointless opinions from a Browns fan. They hold no weight. And also Somber says, quote, ESPN told me so, because ESPN gets everything right. You should always go by them, Tater. Let's go to Tortilla Shador eats grass. Hand-John says, without having a starting quarterback, we have a better quarterback than the Browns. Yep. Steel Loyal says, and you sit next to him. Let's scoot up here. Where did it go? He's next. Okay, Steel Loyal says eating shit all day, every day. Tortilla says you're stupid to tater. He's getting treated just like Browns fans do in America. So I
love it.
I don't feel bad about this at all.
No,
just because he's in Ireland. Let's go to Scott. Scott says dream scenario: Howard balls out in the preseason. Aaron starts and gets hurt and never sees the field because the Steelers keep winning with Howard. Somber says old shit door over there. Yeah, he's well, he did get his number retired in Colorado, so I'm sure he's going to be great. Maybe if his dad could get him. Let's go to Steel Loyal. Browns defense going to be trash without Jim Schwartz. Sash says this, is that Tater, is he a delusional Browns fan? I just got here. Why is he going off? Is there no Browns podcast he could go hang? No, nobody likes him, Sash. So we let him kind of hang out here like the homeless guy.
Yeah,
he's basically the homeless guy of the show. It's wild. Somber says this: Sanders is going to get benched for a guy who gets you looked at a massage parlor. Robert says this: the Clot father has not signed with anyone, but he is definitely a jag-off. Steel Loyal says no Browns podcast don't exist. He's stuck in Steeler chats. Could you imagine a bunch of Browns fans sitting around talking about the Browns every day for 3 hours? Can you imagine?
It would be either miserable or wildly optimistic.
Imagine what's going on over there. Can you imagine what is going on over there? Let's go here to Scott. He said Browns are dude wipes, and that's not changing. That is about fair. Taking care of some of the swamp ass and some of the crotch rotch and everything else. That's the Browns. Let's go here. Christine says this: Fatanu prefers right and is better at the right side. Y'all really think Rodgers is going to play with two rookies starting on the offensive line? LOL. If they earn the job, and again, Aaron Rodgers, we don't know still about him, guys. So that's still in question. Steeler Freak Johnny says this: Rooney will not start a young quarterback. A fact. Christine agrees with that 100%. Richard says this: you win in the trenches. You do win in the trenches, and every team that wins has good teams, good trenches. They all do. That's why I'm not mad at this. Sash says, Miss Christine, hello. Great to see Christine as always, Sash says. Somber says, doesn't matter what he likes, to be honest, what helps the team. And John says they were talking a lot about Corleone's Clot's issues on other platforms. Again, he's a jackass anyway. I mean, here's my thing with him. No, I'm not going to take any phone calls from the Steelers. Listen, you're trying to be a professional football player. I would take a phone call from everybody because at the end of the day, he didn't get drafted. I would have talked to 32 friggin' teams if I was him. Do everything that you got to do to get this job, douche. You're literally, you're hoping somebody's going to pay you millions of dollars to play what you played as a kid, and you're going to complain. F that, dude. I hope he goes somewhere that's terrible. I hope he doesn't. Listen, I hope he doesn't even go anywhere. I hope he gets injured. And you always hear people say, I don't want to see anybody get. I want to see him get injured. I'm going to stick with that. I want to see Corleone get injured. Let's move on, though. Let's go to. Right here. Robert said I'm leaning towards Roger not coming back this season. It makes you wonder, though, with the draft pick of Allard, is that a tell? Going after another quarterback, was that a tell? It's hard to say. It's still hard to say.
Well, he said he wants 4 quarterbacks on the roster. They want to get someone else to help, in the pipeline to develop. They talked to quarterbacks who had 3rd through 4th round value. So it's not that much of a shocker and not that much of a tell. I think the shocker is just where he was drafted. But, a lot of people, if you want to, put your faith in the consensus board, Drew Aller was anywhere between pick 75 to 125. So he got picked within range. McCarthy likes him. And, if the coach wants him, you go and get them. You get the players that you want, because you can see what happened if they wanted Mekhi Lemon, they couldn't trade to get him. Someone takes them. So always go and get your guy. I'm a big proponent of that. If there's someone, if the guy's there that you want, you get him, because you never know what's going to happen. 31 other teams can have, hey, we want this guy. We're just going to wait till they get to our spot. Someone's eventually going to poach your guy. So you just get him and then get him in here. Who cares where you drafted them. Once they're in your system, they're in your system, and you try and maximize their talent.
Steel Loyal says so many armchair experts and NFL experts in the chat today. That's all of us if you think about it.
That's every sports fan.
That's everybody. It's all good. Sommer says, LOL, still loyal. Still Loyal says this. No point in even having Twitter. This chat knows all. And yeah, it's again everywhere you go, man. It's all good. You know what? I like the anticipation. I like the fact that Steeler fans know everything. It shows me that the passion is there. You know what? You don't see that in every city. You don't. Pittsburgh fans are passionate, and that's why I generally try to treat it that way and listen to everybody, because at the end of the day, everybody says things every day. Oh, this is going to happen. This is how it's going to happen. Nobody keeps track. It comes along. Some things happen. Some things don't. The passion, guys, from Steeler fans it's admirable. I love it. We love to have it every day. We love to see it every day. It's why part of what we do. Let's do scoot right here to John. He says Rooney is waiting on Rodgers because he doesn't want to start a young quarterback. Then the Steelers can't act competitive. Wake up. Steel Loyal says so many armchairs in the chat today. You know what? I might have already got that one. So let me scoot up a little bit further. Let's go to Yinzer Joe. Yinzer Joe says this. Ryan, we didn't get a high-end offensive line guy, but we did get the probably the best offensive line was left at that position. So if you would have waited another round, you were getting something even less than that. But yet you still got a receiver that ain't a big fall off from Mekhi Lemon. You see what I'm saying? They were able to get the better lineman that was available at that particular point, because again, there was 6 or 7 that went before us that got tackles, and the drop off isn't huge from Lemon to Bernard. So
and saying Mad Max is a higher end tackle like Freeling, Proctor, Blake Miller, Mad Max. They were all first round talent. This is at that point, what is your preferred skill set out of those 4? They're all going to be first round picks, and it's just who do you do one out of those 4? And the Steelers had their eyes on Mad Max, and they snagged him. When Mekhi Lemon was falling down the boards, that was a pipe dream of him being there. Okay, you take it, then you figure out your tackle situation from there. And then he went somewhere else. Then you go back to your board. Okay, we have this tackle rated higher than this receiver. We're going to go with the higher rated player. So it was a good pick. And to say it's not, I think it's a bit disingenuous just because you didn't like the pick or like the optics or the optics around the pick. Look at the player in a vacuum. You just have to grade all these picks in a vacuum of the player themselves. Are they going to fit into the team system? Is it what the team wants to do, and how is that player going to fit into that system? You can't look around at, oh, well, this guy was available, that guy was available. Look who they got and how they're going to fit into your team. And then you look at the rest of the roster and how it's going to fit and pan out. Because we're not going to know until 2029 if this was a good pick, if any of these picks were good or not.
Let's just go along on the board. Steel Loyal says Exhibit A. And then I do want to say Calvin Brooks, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Terrible Board. He says, nice job, fellas. We appreciate that, sir, man. Thank you. And
thank you.
Steeler Freak John is saying something here, if I could get to it. John is saying this. I'm not freaking out. I'm pointing at Collins F up. That is a podcast media spin. I could care less who they picked. I'm not the coach. Yinzer Joe says even if we traded Rudolph, we wouldn't use the picks correctly. Laugh my ass off. Let's go here to Steel Loyal. No team would be willing to give up any 2027 capital for Rudolph. Steel Loyal said, y'all are crazy. Let's go here to Yinzer Joe. Oh, the Steelers missed the undrafted water boy. Let's go here to Tortilla. He says, Mad Max. That's exciting for sure. Steel Loyal. Caden Swiffer, wet jet. Somber, I think he was just correcting me on a mistake I made. Ty Simpson. John Steeler Freak said this. I have less confidence in the team's ability to find a quarterback next year because that will be the nonstop media hype next year. They will get their guy. You wait and see. Tortilla says Germ Bergnard. Nice nickname for the new receiver for the Steelers. What's up, Jamal? Always great seeing you on the board, my friend. He says this gang and this thing. That's right, baby. Sorry, Vanilla. Laugh my ass off. I know you was pissed.
A little bit.
He's a little bit. That's all you got. Let's go to Christine. She says our O-line by the end of the year last season was actually. Here's the thing, Christine. They have to keep improving because you've seen what we did against the Browns. The offensive line didn't do a good job. We didn't score a touchdown in that game. You've seen against the Houston Texans in the playoffs. Our offensive line was getting beat to hell and back. So, I mean, yes, they started playing better. They have to continue to play together better and build that continuity. And again, to stop building the offensive line, in my opinion, wouldn't have gotten us any further down the road. So we're still back at that position. Again, not being able to do anything against teams with defenses, anything against teams like Houston, anything, even against a team like Cleveland, who had a good defense. So again, going away from the offensive line, I just don't know if that was the answer, but I understand. I get what Yinzers are saying. If we would have got Lemon, I'd be excited. Absolutely. But what are we going to do? What can we do at this point, guys? It's the next step. It's time to turn the page and look what we got and get ready for the season. And beyond that, I don't know if there's anything we could do with being upset about it. Let's do scoot along here. Let's go to I'm going to go to Richard. Richard says this: at Steel Loyal, draft capital can be just a 5th or a 6th round pick for sure. John at Steeler Freak says, give me Bernard, baby, all day long. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not upset that we don't got Lemon and we do got Bernard. I'm just as excited because go ahead.
He's a really good player. And at that point, splitting hairs between Mekhi Lemon and Bernard, that's really what we're doing. We're splitting hairs.
And then you would have had to take a later offensive lineman in the next round. So you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball with the lineman position. So it actually worked out despite a lot of the argument.
And that's what a lot of respected NFL journalists were saying. Like, the Eagles did the Steelers a favor. You may not want to believe it. It could be true that, by the Eagles getting Lemon, it, hey, made the Steelers get the guy that another guy that they wanted that was sitting there, and then help them, get a receiver that's similar quality in round 2 to where you couldn't get a similar quality tackle in round 2 or 3. So it kind of worked out in our favor, is what a lot of NFL journalists are saying.
Let's go right here. Steel Loyal says Eli Heidenreich. Eli Heidenreich, of course, won a state championship with Mount Lebo right here in Pittsburgh, and the greater Pittsburgh area, the Whippeal League, if you will. Jamal says this: we did get that. I don't know if I already got that. No team's we did get that. Drew Tater, Tortillas saying that's crazy talk. Mount Everett, Tortillas saying Mount Everett. Hand-John says this: we gen average 26 yards per punt return in 25, 26 on 21 returns. Sure, that isn't realistic to reach in the NFL, but it flips the field once per game. Don't be surprised if Heidenreich is the punt returner, kick returner. Corvette Everett, Noah Kelsey on the board. Let's go here. Somber says Riley. Somber says, love that pick. Mark Malone, the gem of the draft. And John says they will get 27 draft capital through trades that makes this season going forward for sure. Steel Loyal. Noah Bolski. I want Noah Bolski from Noah Bolski. Jamal says this: man, I hate to be a downer, but I'm disappointed overall. Jump on the poll if you haven't yet a chance yet, Jamal. I want to see what everybody collectively, where they're at with this draft when it's all said and done. Let's go to, and I'm going to jump on a couple of other topics here in just a moment. I'm going to try to get as much in as I can. And again, I love to get them all in, but sometimes that's just not possible. I apologize. Let's go to Richard. Richard says this: Steel Loyal, you need your own podcast. You're so knowledgeable. Richard says also, let's go to Christine. Christine says needed a guard to replace Isaac Siamalu, not a potential guard eventually. So in the meantime, we have no guard. They're going to compete, and one of those guys are going to be your left guard, or they're going to move it around. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, we signed Brock Hoffman, who's a guard as well in the offseason, and you drafted Dunker, so there's spots right there to replace Siamalu.
And even Spencer Anderson, Mike.
Spencer Anderson was there, former 6-7.
He's there for a pinch. So, you know what I mean? I get the arguments. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to argue because I don't know if that's warranted. I'm just very interested to see how people were feeling about this. I missed on Steel Loyal before. He said Robert Spurrier Jennings. I think this is where we are. Jamal, Will Howard, or Drew Aller, who are we riding with?
Whoever's better.
I just want to see the competition. I don't know at this point. I have to see. You know, I got to see them play. Preseason's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
Steel Loyal, it's common knowledge that Mason is not worth a fifth rounder. He says, ask anybody. Let's go here to Mike, if you could see the next message, go ahead and take it as I try to get caught up.
I think my board's a little behind too. Mine's jumping on me.
Listen, I'm gonna go right here. I'm just gonna go to Richard at Steel Loyal. Obviously, I don't need to ask anyone because you are the all-knowing one. Steel Loyal says, "Why are you coming for me?" The guy's going at it on the board, Mike. It's almost. We could be getting ready for. It was supposed to be my bell again. For whatever reason, that bell button hasn't.
I know it doesn't want to work.
You know what? And it'll there it is. It'll ding like 10 seconds later. Let's do Scoot on though. Let's go on the Tortilla. Tortilla says Iron Spears. Somber says this. Wetchin was asked by McCarthy at the combine if he's willing to line up at running back and then motion to the slot. I think McCarthy has similar plans with Eli. They'll both be returning as well if I had to. Guess Somber saying. Still Loyal says I said Mason is not worth a fifth rounder, and this dude is pissed. Let's go here. Steeler Freak says 777. The disappointment started with the Rooney's comments after the playoff loss. There haven't been any surprises when one listens to his comments. Changing coaching hire. Rodgers draft process or results. Somber, maybe he's an Ohio State loyal. Maybe he's an Ohio State guy. Loyal is what he's saying. Vegas says this Mason is worth an unfrosted Pop-Tart. The unfrosted Pop-Tarts. Hanjon says this. There is no guarantee that the next quarterback class doesn't fall flat. You're right. There's no guarantee in any of this. You know, at some point we got to pull the trigger, though. But we will check out these young kids this year in preseason and get an idea. At least, again, Mike, still never getting a chance to see your boy Will Howard in a Steeler uniform taking that injury so early in camp last year.
Yeah, and you have to think now that because we were, anticipating that Howard's going to get a shit ton of work in the preseason game. Now you got to figure both those guys are going to split those reps. You're going to see a lot of Will Howard, a lot of Drew Aller, probably Howard early, Aller late in those games, just because Howard's been here longer, been in the system longer. I think right now he's the more polished of the two quarterbacks.
Let's scoot along a little bit more here. Steel Loyal says, who in this chat thinks Mason is worth a fifth-round pick? Probably not. Let's go here to an unfrosted Pop-Tart. All right, let's go right here. Somber. No, Christine. There we are, Christine. The original 100. These two rookies online picks will not be starting, and if that happens, what they are saying that is happening, then that means A-Rod is not coming back. And there's still a lot of questions to be answered, Christine. I wish we could all sit here and figure out all the answers right now, but at the end of the day, there's still things that we have to wait to happen before some of the things that we speculate are even going to happen. So
I'd rather start the young rookies on the line, and even if Rodgers comes back, because they're going to be the future. Rodgers is not, and I'd rather win and lose with my first and third round picks in there.
And also, Mike, you could say the same thing about Zach Frazier and McCormick. Look at McCormick. That guy, he wasn't even supposed to be on the.
He wasn't even supposed to play until at least the following year. But then Jane Vanders got hurt. You thrust
And
him
he
into the
stepped
lineup.
right in. He stepped right in, and he did well. And again, he's still at that position. So I don't buy into they're not starting as a rookie.
And then this is a completely new coaching staff.
You're right.
They might want to go say, fuck it, we're going young, whether, they're 100% ready or not. Where the older team was like, we don't want to put those young guys in there until they're 100% ready. So McCarthy might have a different philosophy of get them in there, get their feet wet, and let them learn on the fly.
And a lot of things also, guys, we have to remember is it's a whole different coaching staff. So it's things that we're used to seeing in procedures that we're used to watching play out over the past 20 years and beyond. To be real, if there's things that are different that don't go the way that we just, as we got familiar with our coach and our team, and things might be different now. It's something we have to accept. So we'll learn all that as we do move along. Somber says this: Mason threw up jump ball to GP. People think he's worth a shit. I was never sold on Mason, man. I was never sold on Mason. That's just me personally. But let's go here. Han John says pronounced we Jen. Tyrone, my man, always great to see Tyrone. I hope you had a great weekend, brother. He says JPJ's the GOAT, but I will always disagree and tell Tyrone that you Tyrone, are the GOAT. Tyrone says this: Bernard, a Pittsburgh Steeler, baby. And that's, again, it's something to be excited about because we're not getting Lemon. It's not going to happen. It's over. So, what are we going to do? Let's get excited about the guy that we do have. I would say, I mean, we let Dan Marino pass.
Yeah.
And if Dan Marino, we could talk ourselves off the ledge after that.
We can talk ourselves off of this ledge. And my God, it's over. It's done with. Let's move forward. We the guys that we have are the guys that we have. Everything else is just noise.
Let's go right here to Steel Loyal. He says this: we release Mason and he might get picked up. Somber says this: we have no clue what their board looks like, but if the plan was to wait to 21 for Lemon, they were, and it just moved on me. They were clearly high on Max. Steel Loyal says Max was clearly the second option in the first with the way the board fell. Absolutely. So many tackles taken. It was unbelievable, actually. Han John says Jennings is smart. He will be where he's supposed to be in coverage. Somber, exactly, Mike. Also, right here, Matt Williamson is happy for sure. We released Mason, ? We did not as of yet. Matt Williamson. What did Matt Williamson guess?
He was high on Mad Max.
Didn't he make the same exact guess that RB said?
Yeah, Mad Max or Matt Williamson was on the Mad Max train for 2 or 3 months. He was like, "This is the guy. This is the guy." Before, and then RB said, I think around that same
RB's been
time,
liking him for a long time. RB's been talking Mad Max for forever.
I think they might be the same person, Williamson and RB, because they both love him as well, and those were the two that really keyed me on to him. So start watching his game and you start reading about him. Hopefully you can develop into a good player, man. It's a crapshoot, man. The draft is
with all those players that were available before the draft started, RB did in fact say him. So yep. I got to give him the props. Steel Loyal, no, I wish that Tyrone. John at Steeler Freak says this: Mason had 3 average games, and some Steeler fans are so desperate for real franchise play that they grab out of hope. Robert Dunker played guard the first 2 years at Iowa before being moved to tackle. He isn't a project to guard in any way, shape, or form. Somber says no, Tyrone, just talking about it. Ty says sorry, just busy at work. It's all good, brother. You got to do what you got to do, man. Let's go right here to Sosh. He says this: they called Lemon. I mean, they were talking on the phone. So again, what are we gonna do? What can we do? All I know is we have players and we're moving forward and we're going to be playing a season this year with what we have. And I just don't know if there's anything that we could do about the Lemon blunder, if that's what it was. Sosh, let me finish what Sosh says here. They called Lemon. Lemon was their plan A. They got jumped last second, let the clock run down in 50 seconds. I just don't believe they were comfortable with their pick. Let's scoot up here. Steeler Freak says plan A was Lemon, and the Eagles took him next.
Lemon was a pipe dream, and then they followed their board. Next.
Let's go here. Christine says, I like the players. They were all a reach, though. Aller could have been taken. Absolutely. I think the Aller pick was way too early. Number 3, the first third round pick is, in my opinion, too early. But she says this is 99 or in the 4th, but maybe A-Rod called McCarthy and told him, I get bent. So they were like, shit, get Aller now. Tell him to get yes, gotcha. Vegas says this. Christmas attacks in the chat. What's up, Vegas? Always great seeing you, dude. Steel Loyal. Dunker was not a reach, Christine. Tyrone, the only reach was Wetchin, to be honest, but loved the pick. Steel Loyal says, and that is even to be determined at Ty. Steel Loyal, he could be a beast. Again, right here, Cody says Drew Aller going to be the next Tom Brady. Wouldn't you just shit if he ends up becoming like the next Tom Brady?
It ain't going to happen, but people can dream.
Let's go to Hand-John. He says this, Rodgers will be back. Best thing you can do for Howard and Allard is get them snaps. Can't do it if 8 is there. Ty, Cody, what's going on, brother? Sasha says this. No, I just believe they wanted Lemon, but Cooper was too early for them. That's why the clock ran all the way down to 50 seconds. They were confident in who they took. Probably tried to trade out. Steel Loyal says, you missed a Tyrone. Cody was on mic about the Aller pick. He sure was. And I don't think that's ever going to end, to be honest.
No. And I did not want the Aller pick. Like I said, I watched him for a long time at Penn State. I hope they can clean stuff up with him. I just wanted him to be on another team, to watch him from afar. But now I'm going to embrace him as I am now the Drew Aller #1 fan.
Go here to Hand-John. Hand-John says this. Once 8 comes back, who better tutor 2 young quarterbacks? Yinzer Joe, he says this. Steelers had a higher need for the tackle position. That's why Max was selected, even though he's very – that's the thing. We listen, I mean, we are deficient at the wide receiver position, but we're even more deficient at the offensive line. I mean, at least now they do got a couple guys. You got Pittman now, and you got DK, and, of course, with the draft pick here. Let me finish on that message. I do apologize to Yinzer Joe. He says, even though he's very raw, he's potentially better than all the rest of the tackles available. And again, you can't depend on Broderick Jones at all. Not because he's injured. He's never any good. I mean, we could put all the eggs in that basket again, but again, has he, with the exception maybe 2 or 3 games in the 4 seasons he's been here, I don't know. Cody says he plays great in big games and doesn't hold on to the ball too long. Also, no interceptions. Cody says, what up to Tyrone? Tortilla, the reach was Rubio, because you can't tell me we couldn't have gotten him. Absolutely.
Is a 6th round pick really a reach, though?
That's what I'm saying. It's a 6th round pick anyway. I mean, this is what it is. This is what you're getting in the 6th round.
Yeah, you're getting guys that you hope have upside or have a lot of injuries and that you hope they can overcome. So it's hard for me to call like a 6th round pick a reach. Maybe like 3rd round picks. I think 3rd round is the last round you can really call someone a reach, I think.
Let's go here to Chad. What's up, Chad Schrader? Always great seeing you on the terrible board. He says this. What's up, Brian and Mike? I had a blast at the draft on Friday night. Thank God Beck is a Cardinal, and thank God I didn't have to jump off the bridge. I was watching for you, Chad. I was keeping my eye open, but once I seen Beck went elsewhere, I knew that you were going to be okay. I hope you had a good time. It was a blast. Ty said this, laughed my ass off. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. John. Steeler Freak says this. Con was on the phone with Lemon. Sorry, Ryan, I'm not buying it. They got punked live. Lemon was asking Con why the Eagles were on the phone. Okay, so what do you want to do with that?
So, oh no, they were on the phone with him and it was on camera.
I'm not getting all excitable like Mike is. I'm just saying. Let's just say
broken fucking record.
Let's just say they did get one pulled over on them. What are you gonna do? We got a receiver. We went out and got a guy. I mean, come on. We're not going to cry about this all off season, are we, guys?
Oh, they will cry about it for the next fucking decade.
They're not going to cry about it for the decade. I'm just saying there's nothing we could do at this point. I mean, we could sit here and complain about it till we're blue in the face. Okay, the Eagles got overall one on us. Well, we got what we got. Let's go figure out what we got to do to win football games. That's just my mindset. Let's see. John says no. It's not spin. It's just I'm trying to make sense of it like everybody else is. Okay, they got screwed. What are you going to do? What do we want to do? I'm open for suggestions. Again, throwing out the comment. Give me some suggestions. What do we do? Do we all want to sit around and bitch about Lemon all day? Maybe tomorrow we'll take 2 hours and just cry about not getting Lemon. Beyond that, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. We got Jeremy Bernard. That's good. Beyond that, I don't know. So again, whether I'm twisting, turning, spinning, I don't know what to say. Let's go here. Cody says, well, we do have 5 Deshaun Elliott's on the team now. Steeler Freak says 83-75. Go listen to tape. Con got had live. And again, okay. He took advantage of some people. He got advantage taken of them.
Right? My God.
Tyrone says Aller, Howard, quarterback battle. That's what I'm excited about. I can't wait to see these two going at it in camp. I'm actually going to jump off the board here briefly, Mike, because there's a few things I want to get into. We will get back on the board. And again, I do read every single message, so just keep them coming. Guys, I do apologize, but when I do come back and we will scoot ahead a little bit, Tortilla says, do you look up Cleveland Browns podcast? It just shows clips of Family Guy. They're so big over here, Tater. I'm telling you, you got to watch out for them. Let's get into a few things, Mike. This is the dates, important dates coming up, moving forward for our Steelers and around the NFL, guys. Just some important dates that you might want to keep in your mind. This is May 11th. May 11th. So, guys, we are on April 27th. You're just a couple days away from the 5th month of the year. Come on, we're going to be in camp here in July. So, guys, May 11th is Rookie Football Development Program. That is May 11th will be for the rookies. And then voluntary and OTAs, guys, May 18th is OTA 1. May 20 through 21 is OTA 2 and 3. And then May 26, 28 through 29th is OTAs 4 through 6. Mandatory minicamp is June 2nd through 4th, guys. So that is the important dates coming up you're going to want to pay attention to as the Steelers move forward with this whole new team, a lot of new players, a new coaching staff. We don't know what to expect. So I'm kind of just along for the ride at this point. It's going to be hard to speculate some things because you're not having the carryover information that you had from last year, where the last 20 years we did have that information and we were able to carry that over. So now we're going to learn a lot this season, and I'm here for it. Let's also talk about this, Mike, the schedule, the NFL schedule. It should be, if you Google it, this is the information that's given. It should be made available on May 13th or May 14th. Again, sometimes that week they go one way or the other. You might miss by a day or two, but the NFL schedule is due. We know who we're playing. We just don't know what order, what date just yet. We do know that is coming out, Mike. We should be expecting that here within the next couple of weeks, May 13th or 14th. They are expecting.
Can't wait for schedule release day. Start mapping out the season, figuring out what game I might go to this year. That'll be a fun one. So, a lot of stuff coming up, man.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for training camp, though. I want to hear. I'm ready for a hear pads popping. Also,
a little bit about our Steelers, Mike. Cam Johnston. Cam Johnston changed his number. If you see number 19 running around out there, it's not Calvin Austin the third. It is Cam Johnston, of course. He came back. He was spent last year with a couple different teams. We bring the punter back this year. He changes his number to 19. So keep that in mind. If you see 19 out there, it is not Calvin Austin the third.
That's wild. A punter wearing 19.
Also, former Steeler DeMarvin Leal cut by the New York Giants recently. So
I don't mean to laugh, but I mean to laugh. Like, come on, bro. It's the offseason. You're already getting cut.
Yeah, DeMarvin Leal, again, former Steeler defensive lineman, cut. So there you go. I don't know. Do what you want with that. We re-signed wide receiver Brandon Johnson, guys. He's coming back, the veteran wide receiver. He's going to be on the roster for camp. Also, these are the undrafted free agents that we did sign so far, guys. The tight end from USC, Lake McCree. Also, the defensive back from Indiana, Devin Boykin. Arizona State tight end Charmone Mateer. Indiana defensive tackle Kevin Jobity Jr. And finally, the kicker from Kansas, Laith Marjan. Right now, these are the undrafted free agents that we signed since the draft ended. Also, guys, I did want to say this. Talk about Gabriel Rubio. We did talk about him briefly. Gabriel Rubio was our sixth round pick, the defensive lineman. His dad, Angel Rubio, was drafted in the 7th round by the Steelers in 1988.
Another fun fact about Rubio Sr., we traded him for nothing. We traded him away. The guy who was supposed to come back failed the physical, and we were like, "Yeah, you can keep him. We don't want nothing in return." Hopefully, his son has a much better career and longevity with the Steelers.
Let's do look at what Coach Tomlin had to say, guys. He was asked finally about departing from the Steelers. He says this. Tomlin said in an interview with Maria Taylor of NBC, it's probably not something that I could articulate or share with people. There's a loneliness with leadership. I just thought it was a good time for me personally, and by that I mean just where I am in life. And I thought it was a good time for the organization. To be quite honest with you, we didn't have a lot of success in the playoffs in recent years. This is what Mike Tomlin has said. And again, I was kind of hoping we hear something from him a little sooner, not 3 months after the fact. But there it is, guys. There is Tomlin's explanation. There it is. There it is. Yeah. And Mike Tomlin, the scoop is in, guys, that he will be joining the Football Night in America broadcast team for the NBC Sports this fall.
I can't wait for when they come back. Hopefully we get a early Sunday night game. Get Mike T back into town. Just to see what that reaction is going to be like.
Absolutely. So much. It's going to be exciting this year, guys. So exciting for everything this year. Let's jump back on the board. And again, I am going to, I'm going to scoot along just a little bit. And I apologize. I don't really want to miss messages. And I don't. And I ultimately will read them all. But I have to, just for where we're at in the show. We're rounding third here. Let's go to Tortilla. He says, damn right, Cody Bernard wearing Ocho Cinco. Ty says, Cut Mason. Steeler Freak John. He says, I know this. Mike McCarthy for 5 years waiting on Rodgers, and their current draft process isn't winning Super Bowls. Cody said, this pissed. I seen Mike do an Aaron Rodgers jump punch when we picked Aller. Steel Loyal says, followed by the discount double check, Mike.
That may be accurate.
Tyrone says, I like Bernard over Lemon. And again, this is no reason for me, in my opinion, to cry over spilling milk. We got a really good receiver here. I mean, so at the end of the day, if that's where we're mad that we got jumped over, then okay, all right, we'll take it. Let's go here to Tortilla. We'll cut Mason after preseason if he's getting cut. Cody, I like Bernard over whoever he's writing there. Also, Steel Loyal says I like Bernard over Tater. I like a used up pack of matches over Tater.
I was gonna say I like genital warts over Tater.
Exactly. Let's go here to Aaron Jade. Always great to see. Tortilla says the Tennessee Tater. That's what I call my dumps every now. For now, I've been calling them like the Tennessee Tater. Every time I do drop a dump. Let's go to Aaron. He says, here we go, Steelers with the Rockets. Love the message, bro. Always great seeing you. Let's go here to TXXTHPICKIVICQLIG. Let's go right here where he says this. Welcome to the show. He says, why is everyone sleeping on Caden Wetchen? Dude is a white Devin Hester. You know what? If he turns out to be that, awesome.
Right. I'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to translate good returning from college to the pros.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like Devin Hester, some guys got it. So we will see. Scott Atkins says this: Eagles and Devils can kiss and make love in their division. They are filming Brokeback Mountain 2. Let's go here to Steeler Freak. Broderick Jones just hit my evaluation window, and his draft pick is a bust. Allahu Alar, Mark Malone says. Mike Allahu Alar. You're going to hear the chants in the streets 5 times a day. Let's go to Cody. Yep. Cody says Mike's once Drew Alar. He's smoke screening. Drew Salem, Tortilla. I'm going to scoot up a little bit more, guys. I'm going to right up here to Mark Malone. I don't think Lemon will be that good in the pros. Mark Malone is saying, I do want to go right here to Embraced By. Embraced By, I do want to say welcome to the show. Welcome to the Interrable Board. Embraced. He says this: the staff may be able to develop players unlike the last. And that's one thing you got to remember too, guys. Yep. There was problems developing players with the last coaching staff. So maybe, this coaching staff does better and we get better out of our young players. We will see. Let's go to Rogers' Tyrone. Can't wait to see training camp and preseason. Me either, dude. I cannot wait. But again, we're hitting May, guys. Just a couple days. It'll be May. Believe that. Still on that ledge, Vegas says. Let me go. Where do I want to go? Let me go to Christine right here. She says, yeah, preseason is absolutely going to be a fun one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Still loyal. I saw Ryan's eyes. Holy, I don't have eyes. You didn't see that. You did not see that.
That was AI. That was AI.
That was my AIs. Let's go, let's go to Cody said, or Robbie. What's up, dude? Robbie says this. He says Rodgers is finished. I don't get what the Steelers are trying to do. And I do want to say what's up to Robbie the Headford, perhaps is what that is supposed to be for his handle. And Brace says this. Okay, we did get that. I'm going to scoot up just a little bit more. Christine says I'll be cheering all of these. I'll be cheering on all these talented players with everything I have. I would never do anything else. I'm a Steeler fan first, not a McCarthy or an Omar apologist. Vegas says I'm still on that ledge. Let's scoot up here. Bernard will be wide receiver 2 by week 10. Mark my words. John says, if you go back a few years, there are podcasts with Ryan having his eyes exposed. It was before the Coke addiction. You know what? There's a lot of them, actually. There's a lot of pictures of me with no hat and all my hair out for all to see. So it's true. It is true. Let's go forward here. Tortilla says Alar will be quarterback 407 by week 10.
QB1.
Somber Williamson mocked Max for like 3 months straight. You know what? So did RB. He's been, dude. I didn't even know who this guy was. RB's been talking about Max for a minute. Tyrone says DK, Pittman, Bernard. We have wide receiver core. Ryan, I agree. Christine says it's okay to love your country and cheer for its success while still questioning the shady ass government. Doesn't mean you aren't loyal to your country. I couldn't agree more. Vegas living. I'm not that. Well, it all comes back to buttholes with Vegas, and but you know what? It has to do with Tater, though. The colonoscopy channels are the Browns channel. So there you go, Vegas. There you go, Tater. You can watch that at any time. Tyrone says, hope you all had a great draft experience, my guys, for show. John says, Con got punked, regardless of the pick. Most agree. Let's scoot here a little further along. Sosh said this. I said earlier, I don't hate the draft haul. We got, but 121 for Wetjen was a little crazy. He has to be an all-pro returner for one to justify such an early special teams pick. Tyrone definitely got punked, but I'm happy Bernard. I am too. Tater says this. Agent Drew report to duty. Agent Drew report to duty. Scoot up a little bit more to right here to Somber. Somber says Omar Khan said this. So, okay, Omar Khan said in his post-draft press conference when we was asked about the Lemon situation, if that's normal, he said it happens every draft, sometimes multiple times, not just in the first round. And again, I don't see being upset about it. What are you going to do? We got players. We got really good players. Let's get excited about them and try to figure out how what we're going to do.
The pipe dream was falling to you. It got taken away, and you go, okay, I'm going to go back to my realistic option.
Exactly.
I'm going to go back and look at my realistic options and figure out which of those realistic options I want to take. It's like, oh no, I really want a Rolls Royce. Oh man, like I'm in a raffle. Oh, I'm getting so close to it. I can get this Rolls Royce. Fuck, it was taken away from me. But I get my second favorite car. I get an Aston Martin. Oh damn, I got snookered.
Still loyal says Tater. We all had Bernard in our mock draft. Somber, so it might have happened more than once last week. It might have, and again, it happens. It isn't like this is something that never happens and it just happened to the Steelers.
I know, like the day after the draft, I was recounting this. Reuben Foster was supposed to be drafted by the Saints. The Niners take him, and then the Saints take an offensive lineman who had a hell of a career. This shit happens.
Let's go right here to Yinzer Joe. Yinzer Joe says, yes, let's talk about all the players we drafted with so much upside. We can't just draft a plug-in player anymore, which is crap. Let's go here to Steel Loyal. Yinzer Joe, you were being so negative. Go smoke or something. Damn, bro. He says, I don't smoke, but drinking I might be able to take up. Any suggestions? RB makes some pretty good moonshine, as Steel Loyal does say a couple messages down the way I'm seeing. Tater's such a retard. He says you'll be lucky to get one first down in Cleveland. I'm sure we're gonna. All right, Tater. Let's go to Calvin Austin, the Burr. Also, Somber, you poor soul. Tyrone, why guys can't the ball? KC and Boston trash as fuck. RB at Tater. We won't need a first down made with our new kick returner. We'll just score points on punts and kickoff returns. Let's go to Tortilla. Tortilla says the damn Browns will be lucky to get a first down in Cleveland too. Still loyal says keep that energy when Swiffer Wetjet returns one for a touchdown in the Brown Stadium. Tater. Tomlin saying always great seeing Coach T on the board. Coach T says I look good. Coach T, you always look good, brother. Christine says, I thought what Tomlin said was pretty great. Excited to watch him on Sundays. Listen, Christine, my big problem is going to be when he's giving his advice on how to win games in the playoffs. That is going to be the biggest, come on, the biggest inside joke, certainly here in Pittsburgh. He's going to be giving advice on what teams should do to win in the playoffs. I don't know if he's who I would go to, but I'm just saying it'll be interesting. Let's go to Embraced By. How is Tomlin's tree spouting? Not very well. Tater says something that I can't even understand, so I'm going to just scoot by it. Let's scoot up here I'm going to come along a little bit of the way. Jamal, Ohio State versus Penn State battle, quarterback battle. Somber, I feel as if the transaction for returner from college football to the NFL is a lot easier now with the new kickoff rules. I don't really see many people having great success in the kickoff anyway with the new kickoff rules. So I'll laugh my ass off. Ryan names his dumps. LOL. The Tennessee Tater, baby. I got to drop a tater. Let's go to John.
I got to drop a tater.
I'm going to drop a tater. I'll be right back. There is a fine line between chatter, optimism, and podcast trying to make money. Absolutely. Sash says this probably won't matter beyond camp, but we'd sign a Missouri defensive back. Okay, we got another person. Good deal. Somber Wet Jen actually said it said it in his interview. He mentioned the 5-yard gap. Into Joe, I get it. Still loyal. I'm pretty pissed off today. No problem, man. I'm a tough person to get along with sometimes. Hey, you're good, Into Joe. Hey, that's what it's about, baby. And that's like I said, I would rather have 50 different opinions from 50 different people than have everybody sit and agree with each other. It's that shows you that this is a passionate fan base. Some people know their shit. Some people don't know it as much. Some people know it a lot. It ends out. You throw everybody in a room together. You will have these situations, these conversations. So we'll be all right, guys. I promise you, we'll be all right. Jamal says 1964. I talk so much shit. People who question my fandom. Steel Loyal says, yeah, I get it at Yinzer. I usually agree with you too. Let it out, man. Yeah, that's it, dude. We all agree on the important thing that the Steelers, that's where it's at, baby. Ty says we finally got our got returner guys since '84. Hey, and John says this 6'5", 230, best arm in class. Sounds like sounds like someone else who turned out pretty good. Somber says, no way, I skipped over your comment twice. I apologize. I do, Somber. What was your comment? I didn't do it on purpose. I promise you.
Yeah, he did, Somber. He told me he was not going to read any of your comments.
Steel Loyal also says the same. He says he did indeed, Somber. Steel Loyal says this. Steeler Freak 7777. I am old, crusty, impatient, and factual. I would never make a podcast work. Steel Loyal says they don't care about their hair, I guess. RB paid Ryan. Wait, who's paying me? I got to get in on this because wherever that money is, it's not showing up in my bank. I can tell you that. Let's go here to Steel Loyal. I thought it was a good story. Jamal, let's just get the season over with already. LOL. Milku, what's up? Great seeing Milku. He says, I'm effing hyped for this year, fellas. I really like Riley, the tight end fullback from Indiana. I'm happy with this draft. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's go Lemon Hoot. And that's where I'm at. Sash said this. Filipponi announced he was quitting his job because we drafted Al, our best draft pick ever. If true.
Hell yeah. If that is true, well done, Mike McCarthy. No work on.
Fire McCarthy. Jamal's already on the Fire McCarthy train on the board. Also, no, keep Mike McCarthy is what Ty is saying. Steal Jamal. What the F, dude? Tortilla. Fire Art Winnie. Scoot up here. Tyrone, we got wide receiver. We finally got our wide receiver core for the first in 4 years. You're right. I'm so excited. We have more than one wide receiver on this team, and that's going to be freaking awesome. And again, with an offensive-minded coach, we'll see how this plays out. Somber Mike gets so worked up anytime Lemon is mentioned, even if we agree with him.
It's just the same things being said over and over
I
and
think
over again.
his
It fucking kills me. It's like when I go to work and people go, "What are we doing?" I don't know. The same thing we do every fucking day. Why do I have to repeat myself?
I think Mike's headband's on a little too tight. It's squeezing his brains, is what I think. Lemon is a weirdo, is what Mike Carr. What's up, Mike Carr? Great seeing you as well back on the terrible board. Mike Carr, he says Lemon is a weirdo. Steel Loyal. I'm so mad right now. I can't even see straight. Jamal, he says Steel Loyal. F this shit. Gabe, what's up, Gabe? Gabe 22-2. I hate the fact that we drafted a long life Browns fan. He refused to put on our hat. Did he really? Well, I don't like that. I have to go back and watch. I didn't see that. That's interesting, Gabe. Welcome to the show. John says if the Steelers miss next year on quarterback, there will be another 5 years of ass pain. I don't trust the staff, head coach, but I can't change it. I only bitch here. And the thing is, I mean, if we pull a trigger next year or this year or the year before, of course there's a chance that this is going to work out, a quarterback. You know, we're just trying to find the best time and situations to step in and grab. I don't know if you got that, if you had that guy in this draft. And if you did, he probably was out of our reach, obviously, because Simpson was gone by time it was our turn anyway. So Tortilla, it does it's because it does sting that we didn't get him, and talking about it makes us cranky. I got cranky the next day over the same thing. RB makes prison wine. So let's see. I'm gonna scoot up just a little bit more. Let's go here. Steel Loyal. I send it to them. Tortilla. That'll be the new intro. Ty says, Jamal, I know damn well you ain't talking about nothing. With Decade, even Mike T admitted we ain't had no success. Here's my argument on that. And this is my closing argument on Mike T. I'm never going to say another negative thing ever. There's been 60 years of Super Bowls. We just missed. We just went through 10 years without winning a single playoff game. That's 1/6 of the history of the Super Bowl era. We just went through straight, consistently, consecutively, without winning a playoff game or even staying in a playoff game. That was what I need. That's what I needed to change as a fan. I needed that to change. And if Mike McCarthy comes along, gives us 5 years without winning a playoff game, believe me, he's on his way out too. I have no connect with any of these people in that extent. We want to win. That's, the main point of this thing is to win football games and give yourself a chance. And out of 60 years, the last 10 in a row, we failed to win a playoff game. That had to change. It had to change. Let's see. We could have picked up Taylor Green, is what Jamal is saying. Also, Ty says, I want to see what Aller and Howard has. Tortilla, I wanted Taylor. Somber says, I knew it, Mike. Let's go to Jamal. He says, Will Howard is going to win over Aller. Enter Joe, y'all. Now the Browns are going to ruin him. Poor Taylor. Is that where he ended out?
Yeah. In like the 5th round, I believe.
Try to find it again. Somber says, let's go here too. Somber says this. Did you hear the story of the hair? He only did it because his teammate Connor Colby did it last year and then got drafted to the Niners. So he did it as well. Whose hair?
Dunker.
Oh,
that's why he grew out the mullet. Yeah,
but he's a hay tosser. It's no surprise to me that he has a. It doesn't like there needs to even be a story. The dude is a hillbilly. He's a hay tossing champion. So, but it's an interesting story, Somber. That is interesting. Let's see, Jamal. Did we really need another running back? Connor Hayward 2.0. I think that was the point of grabbing that position, though, was to fill in for that Connor versatile fullback / tight end. I think that's what that pick was. Steel Loyal. Eli ain't going to play running back. No, he's definitely not playing running back. Ty says, Tater, your guys' ceiling is 6 wins. Let me do a few more here, Mike, and we're going to get to the next step. And I have something interesting here, guys. I do want to talk about getting back to these numbers of the weekend for the draft. I think this is really interesting. You guys will like that as well. But let me get into a few more of these messages before I do that. I thought I had it here. I know where it's at. All right, let's go to Steel Loyal says, watch his tape, Jamal. The Navy got what they wanted from Eli, a great marketing opportunity. Let's go to Somber. Both Cade and Eli are multi-tools. Somber says this. Eli lined up all over the place, Navy, including outside. His releases were actually impressive. Oh, he's a good football player. He's like Rudy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in the big picture, though, Jamal, think of all them those factory-made white guys that Bill Belichick pulled out of nowhere every year. And they, if using right, they can be very effective because no one's planning for them. When I'm planning the Patriots, I'm not worrying about Danny Woodhead. You know what I'm saying? So again, you could use that to your advantage. Obviously the writing is on the wall with the guy. It's let's go here. Christine, Somber mad because we didn't even want or give a shit about Lemon. LOL. And that's the narrative that we mad because we didn't get Lemon. When we never wanted Lemon. Black Magic says this. Laugh my ass off. I have more receptions than Wet Chin. Shaking my head. I do want to say what's up to Vegas Profile Stories. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Terrible Board. He says, what up, fellas? Great to have you here. Welcome. Wait, what? Somber says, Steel Lawyer, do you have more touchdown return? You have more touchdowns than who? Somber, who is we? Because the team definitely did. Jamal, he's a returner. Christine says, I'm talking about you and me. Let's go here. Jamal says, no one gives a shit about Lemon's weird ass. Steeler. You know what, though? If you would have came in earlier, you might have been here earlier. A lot of people were giving a shit about Lemon's ass. Steeler Freak says this. John, no, win Super Bowls is the name of the game. Can't win them every year, but it has been going on 18 years now. The Steelers dynasty was 50 years ago. Kansas City and Patriots fans are spoiled. Steelers fans are desperate. Steel Loyal says this. I wanted Lemon, but we missed out. Oh, well. Got the next best thing. A guy named Jeremy. A guy named Jeremy. I am all aboard for a guy named Jeremy. Let's go here to Joe. Crabs and warts are common in the Brown Town. So bad they need to massage them off. Vegas Profile Stories. What up, fellas? Salute to the Sportcast. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we're glad to have you. You're welcome. Mark Malone, Heinrich reminds me of Hurlman. Yeah, probably. And that's probably going to be the same results. Come on, it's seventh round pick.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Why are people getting so upset about seventh round picks not being? If they're seventh round guys, they're not going to make the team more than likely. They're going to get shit out the bottom of the NFL like every seventh round pick does every year.
You hope you can find, you hit on them and hope their ability can fit in your offense. If he works out, awesome. If he doesn't, seventh round pick. First round picks have like a 50-50 shot of making it.
Handjohn says Tater, when Browns go 2-15, you can draft, won't matter. You'll be picking at 10 in 2028 again. Steel Loyal Jamal, your first mistake is watching highlights. LOL. Watch the all 22, which is true. Go get the all 22 and watch that. That's where you're going to find. You're going to learn some stuff. Not you, Jamal, just in general. I'm saying. Let's go here to John. John says if I did business like Khan, Mike would be putting his podcast out in Arabic.
Omar Khan is a really good GM staff with some really good players, so I'd still be speaking in my native tongue, and we're not going to go down that road because I could say some comments that will make a lot of people very upset. So we're just going to move on.
Christine says I actually wanted Lomu to left tackle or Thieneman. Those are all good. Listen, every single guy. Unfortunately, we can't get every single guy. You know what I mean? Are we happy with what we got, or are we going to complain and be upset about what we didn't get? Again, I do have the poll up there. 46 different people in on the votes today. Do join in and get your where you grade this year's draft. Just very curious to see where this plays out in general when it's all said and done. Again, a lot of opinions, but you know what? We welcome it here. This is Steeler Nation, baby, and this is every voice. Every voice is always welcome here. I don't care what it is. If you are a Steeler fan, let's go. Somber says this. I'm good with all of our picks. To be honest, Aller is meth. It's easy. Meh. Okay, he's not meth. Thank God. I'm going to go right here where he says he's meh, but it is what it is. I agree. And you know what? Any of those guys of that caliber, some people will be happy about Carson Beck. Other people will be like, meh. It is what it is. Black Magic Jamal says this at Steel Loyal. F this shit, man. This was bullshit ass draft. We can't keep letting them off the hook. Steel Loyal says simmer down, Jamal. The draft was not that bad. Christine, the last pick was wonderful and had a great way to end. Absolutely. That was the perfect ending. And again, if this guy doesn't play a single down